It's safe to say that the trek through the regular season has given a new atmosphere for the championship pursuit, but it's not done dishing out the curveballs quite yet. It's a first-time track with a first-time venue with a first-time everything, but it's a similar task ahead for the best of the series. Live from the virtual North Wilkesboro Speedway in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, we welcome you to coverage of the All-Star Race for the Season 6 4-Wide Racing TJ's Team Series and coverage here on the KBueno Racing Network. Happy to have you for another Wednesday night of action. Happy holidays to all of you watching here on the KBueno Racing Network, where alongside 14 or 13-time winner, 4-Wide Racing winner Kyle Benson, I'm Kenneth Bueno. Now, Kyle, of course, you're going to be in the main race. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. But tonight, sort of a night to recuperate and have a bit of fun during the middle of a very grueling regular season. A lot of guys, including yourself, trying to fight for the title and that big push for the playoffs. How fun and how important is tonight going to be in order to just shake things around, have a bit of fun tonight, and just be able to race?
I think it's going to be pretty big. Think about it as kind of like a momentum booster. You're going into the break. You got 2 weeks off coming for Christmas and coming back in the new year going into Darlington. I think it'll be a good time. Just break out the cobwebs, get some good momentum going into Darlington, because how daunting Darlington is, it could definitely change your season.
Yeah, with Darlington in the horizon in the new year, Kansas up next, that's going to be really big in that pursuit for the title. But tonight, all about the newness of the All-Star race, everything in it, all about having some fun. Now, we do have a format to give you and to sort of let you in on exactly what's going to happen, who's going to be in, who's going to be out, how we're going to decide the drivers that make it through. But one thing that we do know, Kyle, is that we've got a lineup for the drivers locked into the main. You happen to be one of them, as we'll look at everything going into that race. It'll be 150 laps. These are all the drivers that are making it. It's a long list, Kyle, of winners from season 5 and 6, winners of poles, and of course, championship drivers that have been able to hoist the trophy at season's end. What do you make of this entire list that's going to be around you by the time we start the main in a couple of hours?
I mean, this is like an all-star lineup. You have Lawson Peel, Joe Sanchez, you got all these guys, Brandon Hawken coming in, winning a few races this year, and you also got some rookies too, some of your guys. You got Luke Knupp, Ethan Fonseca going in there, winning some races. I mean, it's definitely something. You got a good field of just an all-star. If you just run those guys, you probably have a whale of a show, but we get running an open, getting everything all rocking and rolling, man. I'm excited for it.
And there's a lot of drivers in there, and you can also add in Brandon Hawken, who won the race last week at Watkins Glen International. Just a rookie driver making 2 starts, already eligible for that all-star race, but I'm going to have to knock it in with some of the veterans of the series. A really healthy mix of the best that we've seen so far in Season 6. And while we get through qualifying here of the open race, we'll talk to you about exactly how this is all going to fare down. So we're going to have a 50-lap open race for these drivers that are not currently locked in. That also includes, you know, the drivers that haven't been able to win yet, or drivers who haven't picked up a pole, or winners from seasons before the 5th one here in 4-wide competition. So, Kyle, we're going to have a pretty decent mix of guys, whether it be drivers who have been around for a long time. The league owner, Tyler Murray, is going to be in here. That's going to be a lot of fun. We've got some rookies, too. Trevor Haley's in it as well. Ryan Pandicio, Craig Parks. Just so many guys you have to keep an eye out for. Is there anyone you've got an eye on in particular? I know Tyler's your teammate, so you might have to jump on the bias train there, but is there anyone else you're looking out for?
Yeah, definitely Tyler, but definitely Trevor Haley. He's been picking it up recently. The driver of the Ford Mustang. He's definitely put something on this year. He's taken a pretty strong case of being Rookie of the Year, but with Luke Knupp and Fonseca kind of taking the reins, he's kind of been the guy who just slides under. Dude's very consistent. I think he can maybe pull it off. Same with Brady Cox and those guys. They can definitely do something. They can make the life of other drivers, you know, they can make their name, make it big.
And you know, also, Kyle, too, with some of the drivers in this open field, they've already made statements throughout the actual regular season to go for the open and go for a cash prize and try to advance into the main. That's going to be a lot of fun. Only 5 drivers will advance into that main race from this open. They will take as well top 2 in point standings that did not advance through the top 5. And of course, the fan vote, which if you do want to vote for your favorite driver, try to get them into the All-Star race later on tonight. You can hit the link and try to type that link down on that graphic there on the bottom end of your screen to vote. Now, a lot of drivers in there, including many in the open and just many all around. So if you want to be able to vote your favorite driver in, get them through, even if they don't finish top 5, then you can do so as we watch here on the KBueno Racing Network. Let's get through North Wilkesboro Speedway, Kyle, before we officially jump trackside and get you to the green of the All-Star Open. This track has never been run in 4-wide competition, so it's only adding to the unexpectedness of tonight. But this historic venue in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina, storied venue that's just a lot of fun to drive, but can offer a lot of challenges too.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. With 1 and 2 being downhill, 3 and 4 being uphill, it's definitely a tale of 2 different tracks. You got 1 and 2, which is kind of like a diamond line, but 3 and 4 is kind of more the conventional. Definitely a lot of historic history here, and, you know, hot, slick surface, man. It's going to be wild, man. I'm all for it.
We've got track temperatures in the 120s, so it is going to be blistering hot for those Goodyear Eagles to hold on for grip as drivers do take the track behind the iRacing official pace car. We'll get you to the starting grid of the All-Star Open, drivers that are trying to advance into the main later on tonight. It's Brady Cox in the 78, and fastest time in qualifying, a 20.064. He'll be joined alongside by rookie sensation Trevor Haley on his outside. Both of them will be the first to see the green flag. Curtis Kelly rolls off from third in the number 71. Jesse Prees for Drinking Bros Racing will be on his outside in position number 4. Kevin D'Elia for Skybox Racing in his Toyota Supra, he will start 5th. And there's your teammate Kyle Tyler Murray in the 36 car. Here roll off right outside in row number 3. That's position number 6. Ryan Pandicio is 7th. Craig Parks in the 17 will be on his outside in 8th place. Michael Newbraw in 9th. Inside row 5, Eric Stewart to round out the top 10. Brandon Gillis, Christopher Bishop, the 9 and the 42, occupying row 6. Then Timothy Cook, flanked by Cody Kinsey, 13th and 14th. That will do it for the cars in tonight's All-Star Open race. Again, the top 5 will advance to the main race later on tonight. 50 laps on tap for the race, and we'll look at the weather, Kyle. It is hot, 129 degrees, similar session temperatures to the main race that we'll see a little later on in the evening, but northeast winds at 7 miles an hour, track temp 129. It's going to be tough, even over a short 50-lap stretch.
Yeah, it's a sizzler, man. 130-degree track temps. The rear tires are going to be screaming off the corners. We're going to find out, though. Short track time and 4 wide, man. I'm all excited. It's the All-Star, baby.
It's going to be crazy. And guess what, too, Kyle? I mean, we're going to have these guys ripping for only 50 laps. If we get a situation where 2 drivers are trying to battle for that last transfer spot, boy, is it going to get hectic. Are there any expectations you have for these guys? Anything they might want to keep in mind if they want to at least keep their chances alive at making that main race?
I think that's all thrown out the window. They're going to throw the kitchen sink at this thing, and it's going to be a wild fight from start to end, man. I'm excited for it. I'm looking out for my teammate, the 36. I'm looking out for a lot of these guys trying to make a name, too. Man, it's going to be fun, man. I'm all excited for it.
In a season that's been filled with a lot of new things, the Xfinity Series car, a brand new points format to decide a champion at season's end, and now a brand new All-Star race with a track never seen before in this series. We've got Brady Cox and Trevor Haley, the 78 and the 4, to bring us to the green flag. Pace car will make that left to the entrance of pit road, and for the first time in 4-wide history, we're racing at North Wilkesboro for the All-Star Open.
Little bit of wheel spin on the outside with Haley. He's going to drive around the outside of the 71. Going to get a nice lane behind him. It's all double file, baby. We're rocking and rolling. I thought it would be a little worse of a start, but we're all good going in front of turn 3.
Oh, we saw a wheel spin out of the 4 of Trevor Haley. Almost got that car fully around, but he's going to dart to the inside out of turn 4. Nice look inside for the race lead into turn 1. Looks like he'll get the doors shut. 78 will hold on to the lead. How about the battle for 7? 2 of the Skybox Racing teammates. That was the 63, Ryan Pandicio, going up against his team the team driver, the 53 of Kevin D'Elia, rocking the inside. This is for 7th on the racetrack right now. A look on board with Pandicio and Kyle. You can tell just how rough it is to race here at North Wilkesboro. It's a very old surface that was brushed up and scanned for iRacing in 2020. Has there been anything that you noticed driving this car at this track that really has to be the biggest thing to take note of when you go out?
It's definitely the looseness. The looseness definitely caught a lot of guys off guard. There's a big wiggle out of Pandicio out of the corner. He's going to drive double file with him. He'll try to go on the outside of him. I think it'd be a little better to go on the outside because you can get that run off. But at the bottom, he can really cut it on the center of the corner. Oh, we're going to get a little loose from D'Elia. He's going to try to file back. We got a battle for the lead up front.
Battle for the lead. Brady Cox and Trevor Haley going at it. Battle for 3rd as well. Jesse Prees looking underneath Curtis Kelly, the Skybox number 71. And you told me before we went live, Kyle, that the bottom end is really not grippy at all. It takes a really tough time to rotate that car on the very inside of the racetrack. And you can see how Brady Cox is lifting up just a little higher than that very bottom groove. But it's not going to work in this fight against Haley for now. Cross of the start-finish line, give the lap to Brady Cox. But Trevor Haley not giving this up quite yet.
He is reeling and dealing on the bottom lane, trying to get that bottom side rolling. He's a little better on the entry and center, but Brady's able to just get it off the corner and just gonna got a little more, push him up the track just a hair, try to get the lap. Let's gonna be close. He might have got it there. Priest is just watching this, licking his chops. Oh, little contact. All good. We're rocking and rolling, and there's going to be a caution on the racetrack.
Looks like it's Cody Kinsey in trouble. Back in 14th, him and Michael Newbraw might have gotten into it. The 2-car already towing it. Looks like we'll take a look at exactly what happened, and this might have been out of turn 4 that we saw it go down. You really can't see the 2-car from here. But there's a look at Cody Kinsey. That was Michael Newbraw there who was going by the accident. And so here's about a lap or so before. So Kinsey's running right in front of Timothy Cook. And I'm not sure whether this car just went fully sideways at the exit of corner of what, but you see just an incident there. That's turn 2.
2 cars back there. I saw Gillis get sideways. Same with Newbraw, about center of the corner. You can see it just a quick glance. Get on board here. Watching Newbraw in the 6. Just looks like he just kind of bit him on the bottom side. And same with Gillis behind him. Both ran into the corner, just a little tight, a little hot, and just kind of went around, but they're all good, all clean.
Well, it's hard to see what happened to Cody Kinsey. His car was blinking in and out, not exactly registering on the sim, but he did get a piece of the damage. He is back out on track, but there's the rear clip completely torn off of his Chevrolet Camaro. And so Kinsey will rejoin the pack, but 1 lap down here on lap number 9. So our first caution out here in the All-Star Open. So far, Trevor Haley going to be able to take over the lead. How about a power move there, Kyle, by car number 4? And this is one of the handful of rookies in the series that have certainly stepped up to the challenge of competing with all the guys that have been around for a while. You know, you look at Haley, Ethan Fonseca Moreno, you look at Luke Canup, you look at guys like Craig Parks and Ryan Pandiscio. These guys have taken that challenge of becoming yellow striped cars in the field, rookie drivers, but they've certainly stepped up when it matters most. What have you noticed about Trevor Haley and the way he's been able to manage the regular season, and even how nicely he's doing tonight?
He's just kind of there. No matter where you look in the top 10, he's just there. He's always just keeping his nose clean, making sure he's completing races. I mean, this year has just kind of been, you know, rookies versus veterans. You had, like you said, all these rookies coming in, kind of taking a fight to some of these 4-wide veterans, and Trevor Haley being one of them. He had a shot to win at Michigan, and, you know, just didn't come to fruition at the end. But, you know, I think at the end of the year, you might be calling, you know, Haley's name at the end of the year for a win one of these times.
One of those drivers in the top 15 in point standing. So as long as he hangs around there, he's going to have a berth in the playoffs, despite having a win or not. Even if he doesn't have a win, he could make it into the playoffs. And so far, his move on the inside, his gamble did pay off. He's going to have the lead over Brady Cox as we get to the next green flag restart. It appears only 2 drivers came down pit road the last time through. That was Timothy Cook in the number 29 and Michael Newbraw in the 6 machine. So those 2 are going to get some fresh rubber, maybe get some fuel, although you probably don't need it over a 50-lap race here to track this short. But they'll head uphill into turns 3 and 4. Down the back straightaway, Trevor Haley will have the momentum on the inside lane. So it's Haley, Cox, Freeze, Kelly, and Parks. Your current top 5, they should advance into the main if it stays that way, but obviously we've had some good battles so far tonight over the first 12 laps. We'll see if that top 5 transfer spot gets a little more hectic over the course of the race. Pace cars down, Trevor Haley with an early jump. Brady Cox going to match him back to turn 1.
Big drive out of Cox. He's trying. Oh, they're rubbing a little bit. A little beating and banging out, hurt anybody. Haley's going to get the run on the bottom. Going to be side by side into turn 3. Double all the way through the field. Cox is going to drive it in deep on the outside. Haley's going to drive it in through. Same with Preece on the bottom. It's going to be tight coming off the corner. Transfer spot to that 36. It's going to be tight right here. He's going to get a little loose under him. He's going to try to run the bottom. It's going to be tight. They're all double foul. Man, you think this is Daytona with a wave of double foul.
Oh, look at the 36.
Oh,
getting loose out of turn 2.
Hold on to her, buddy. Come on. Run the bottom. Get yourself some. Hey, that's a big voice crack, but he's falling through the field. He's holding on. I'll tell you what. He's going to try to get there. Big battle up front, though. Can't take your eye off of that. Battle for the lead still. Cox is not letting up. He's on the outside.
Hey, I'm just going to say, Kyle, I know you're a teammate of Tyler, but you can ham in on the team owner if he's not doing well in this open. As here's Trevor Haley on the inside. He clears the 78 for the lead.
That's big power move on the bottom. Being able to clear the top lane. Just a big hornet's nest behind Cox. He's got to watch the 0 car of Jesse Preece on board with a 78. Just being able to just drive behind him, save his stuff a little bit, have something at the end. Going to get a little bit of a lower exit. Haley kind of chops his nose down. gonna be, but I'm surprised with how well Haley's been holding on, man. The outside's been known to prevail on the exits, but man, he's just kind of holding his own up there.
And he's pulling away quite a bit. His better lap last time through 20.460. Brady Cox with a 20.555. And Kyle, one thing that's easily noticeable at this track compared to all of the others we ran so far is the speed. You don't see it as fast as you would some of the other short tracks like a Bristol or even a Richmond or even a Martinsville. You're going pretty slowly around this racetrack, even in the middle of the corners. And as you go uphill, you'll watch on board with Craig Parks. He dives it down. That is 74 miles an hour, a low speed that he's reaching there in the middle of the corners. He gets loose out of 4, trying to defend the 5th place spot. Here comes Kevin D'Elia.
Big battle for the transfer spot, man. 75 miles an hour, that's cruising speed on I-80. Just nice and chilling here. Big slide of the 53. It's going to be tough, man. You know, so used to these big tracks, being able to carry a lot of speed. It's just like a snail's pace around here. Just kind of being able to watch the exits battle for second. Looks like Priest is going to try to get on the bottom of Cody. Oh, that's the wrong name. My bad. Get on there to Cox. Going to drive him deep on the bottom. Priest trying to fight hard, but he ain't going to get the spot.
Driver out of Wabash, Indiana, Jesse Priest has definitely shown out over his tenure in the 4-wide racing series. He'll dive it to the inside at a turn 4, no success. 78 is going to clear all the while. Trevor Haley has pulled out to a 6/10 of a second advantage as we approach halfway in this All-Star Open race. As we'll still watch that battle for 3rd place heat up. And Jesse Priest still trying to get to the inside. Rather, that is 2nd place that we're watching with the 78 and the 00. Top 5 transfer has calmed down, and there is your team owner there, Kyle. Tyler Murray in the number 36 with the TJ Seam colors on board. He's trying to catch up to Ryan Pandicio, but all in an effort to get to 5th place Craig Parks. What does he have to do in this single file train if he wants to alternate and get some speed on these guys ahead of him?
I think you got to try a little something different. You see how they're all running the same lane. Try to get up there. Get a little wider on. Like I said, it's like he's listening to me. Get a little up there a little bit. Cut it down just a little bit. Get yourself a nice little run off the corner. Maybe just try to force them up there. It's just really worrying about getting the power off the corner is going to be a really big thing. He's going to drive it in really deep. Come on, get some, Tyler. Get on the bottom. He's going to get a big slide. Oh, he held on to it. Gonna be a fight, man. He's trying. I gotta give it to him, man. He ain't gonna stop. He might wreck him. Hold on. We're all good. Just gotta try something different. Just running the top might help you get off the corner just a little bit better. And sometimes a little bit better here at a big track is a big if, you know. Just trying to be faster than anybody on the top. Like you said, trying the top, gonna try to get the diamond off the bottom. Can't get the run off the corner like I thought he would.
Oh man, looks like the dive by Murray. Looks like the Hudson Holstein line. He'll slide up in 1 and 2. He's going to be able to keep the race car together, but there goes Michael Newbraw. Christopher Bishop going to keep behind the 36. Didn't want to take that spot. Now goes Brandon Gillis. A dive on the inside, successful, but the 36 just got a little eager there on the brake pedal trying to hop into the corner, and it slid way up the racetrack.
Yeah, it just kind of went loose in the entry of the corner. This thing went around on him. I mean, he's trying everything he can. He just went into the corner, and you can just see it just way too much. Slides up the racetrack, kept on and held on to it nice and clean, and off and away he went. Those rear tires are definitely not happy with him right now. Battle for second, though. Pre's going to try to rough him up the racetrack. Going to be even coming out of 2.
And here comes the 00 of Jesse Breeze trying again at 2nd place. Now, these two will be able to advance to the main should the race end like this. So no real need to fight for position and lose time to 5th place Craig Parks and everybody behind. But this is a fantastic fight for position behind Trevor Haley. Breeze way up the racetrack, opens the door back for the 78, flushes it down low. He's going to try to peek the nose in. No success entering 3 and 4 up the hill. But the 00 of Jesse Breeze holding on to it, and he'll try to fend off the 78 car on the outside. It is so close, Kyle. Here at North Wilkesboro, close quarters racing doesn't get any better than that.
Man, I mean, you got to probably back down just a little bit. You guys are in the transfer, but hey, they're driving trying to win this thing. I kind of like what Priest is doing on the top, though, being able to get the run off. Just be able to finally just make that position work, and now he's up to 2nd. Brady's going to try to hop the berm, going to lose up the racetrack. Now it's going to be open the door for the 71 of Curtis Kelly. It's a 3-way fight for 2nd right now.
Curtis Kelly entering himself into the mix, the driver out of Keystone Heights, Florida. Rather, that is not That is Roth to say New Brunswick, Canada. That was Cody Kinsey I was talking about. Wow, big mistake there. But the 71 of Curtis Kelly now stepping into this fight. All the while, they're pulling away from Craig Parks in the 17. So no real worries about the transfer unless a caution does come out as we're 20 laps to go here in this All-Star Open. It just looks like, Kyle, the tires have fallen off a little bit for driver number 78. Cox is not really able to pick up the speed off the corner. It's allowing the guys like the 71, even a bit of the 17, to start peeking in a little bit.
Yeah, just being able to fight that hard early in the run is going to definitely make the tires not happy with you. It's definitely hard to reel them back in. Big slide out of the leader. I think now at this point, you just got to save the rear tires and maybe hope for a caution, get yourself some new boots on it, and call it good. But Craig Parks is kind of in his own world there in 5th. Got D'Elia there in 6th, trying to run them down. Battle for 7th back there with New Brawl and Pandicio. And, just kind of, I'm actually kind of surprised how tame this is. I was expecting it to be a slugfest, cautions everywhere. But I'll tell you what, it's been pretty clean, pretty stout right now. And I'm kind of happy how this is running.
You know what, Kyle? I know you don't spend a lot of time in the commentator's booth with us, but the jinx is real. Just don't jinx it.
I'm trying. I know I'm new at this. I'm trying to not say too much about it, but we're holding on pretty good right now. 17 to go. Good battle for 7th here. New Brawl on the bottom, trying to route his way through. Gonna get tight. Man, he got loose going in the corner and just straightened up off the corner by hit Pandicio, but we're still green, baby.
Looks like the 6 trying his dearest to get right to the bottom of the 63. Pandicio can't quite do it. This battle going to continue, though, for 7th and battle further back for 9th place. Brandon Gillis trying to get to the inside of Tyler Murray. They're going to bring in the Murray Reedy Motorsports teammate of Christopher Bishop in that Cal Ford Mustang. Going to be right behind this trio. They're going to try and tally it up with around 15 laps to go here in this All-Star Open. Now, of course, the drivers outside of the top 5 aren't exactly in the desert quite yet. They can make it to the main race, Kyle, if, of course, they do get the fan vote or if they are the top 2 drivers in points. Now, we'll look at that, and Tyler will give us full confirmation who's going to be in and who's going to be out. But I know talking to him a little bit before we went live here on the KBueno Racing Network, Kevin D'Elia is getting the votes. He's got the fan votes rolling. So car number 53, despite being 1 spot out of the final transfer in 5th place, fan vote could take him to the 150 lapper later tonight.
That is true, man. I love these fan votes, man. Getting the fans involved, getting some guys, you don't see a lot, getting stuff a chance to make a name for themselves in the All-Star. That's kind of what it's all about, man. A lot of people make it as a big exhibition, but just getting the fans involved was a really big thing, and being able to do that and put drivers like D'Elia in here is definitely a big thing, and for the league, and definitely a big thing for the fans and them coming back and having a favorite driver.
And for Skybox, too, how big that would be. 3 of their Skybox cars are in this open field. Of all 3 of them can advance. Of course, they have Curtis Kelly in 4th place. They've got Kevin D'Elia back in 6th. And if Ryan Pandicio can somehow advance either via points or through the fan vote, then they will join their teammate Adam Alishire and make it all 4 of the Skybox Racing Toyota Supras in the All-Star Main later on tonight. So here we go, 11 laps to go here from North Wilkesboro in the All-Star Open. This race is Trevor Haley's to lose right now, up by a 1.8 seconds over Jesse Priest back in 2nd. Nice fight for 3rd building up. Looks like Curtis Kelly finally is trying to get around the 78 of Brady Cox.
Yep, just making it work, just kind of prairie dogging on the bottom. Going to get a short exit on the bottom. Maybe get there in the entry of 1. It's going to be tight. Going to hold him down just a little bit. Brady Cox has been able to hold off on the outside lane. I'm really surprised how he's been able to hold off and get the run down the backstretch. Kelly's just looking a little loose. Going to try to get down there, get a short exit. Going to be still side by side with him, but Brady is just be able to get off the top just a heck of a lot better, and the exit speed going into 1 is a lot better than going in 1.
Not entirely sure if this is the proof of Oval Refresh just stepping in and working wonders here for the 78. He'll roll the very bottom to try and defend against here the 71 of Curtis Kelly. Will roll off to 8 laps to go. Kelly almost got a bit of the outside wall, had to check up there out of the 4th corner, and he'll stay behind the 78. Peaking in striking distance, might be an opportunity at a pass soon. So far, no real success. How about Michael Newbraw picking up the pace? He's getting the inside of Kevin D'Elia here. This is for 6th place.
6 is rolling. Maybe he got something saved up. He's going to drive it in there. He's going to clear him. Big power move on the bottom by 6, and Newbraw is going to be able to clear D'Elia, and he's just off clean sailing. He might get to Craig, his teammate.
And so that's going to be a lot of fun. We'll see if there's any infighting between those two. And for Newbra, of course, he's picking up the pace because he's got 9-lap fresher tires. He was one of those that pitted on the first and only caution of the All-Star Open. So using some of the fresh Goodyear Eagles to his advantage, rolling in 6th place, but still has about 4.5 seconds before he can get to Craig Parks into 17. The driver out of Elyria, Ohio, Michael Newbra, with this gorgeous blue and pink number 6 DBR Chevrolet. Rolling into 6th place, we'll see if he can try to enter the main race, either through the top 5 or through any other method. Top 5 stands: Trevor Haley, Jesse Prees, Brady Cox, Curtis Kelly, and Craig Parks into 17. Now the gap is extended to about 2 seconds between Trevor Haley leading this race to 4 laps to go and Jesse Prees behind him.
I think Trevor Haley decided he's going to stand on business. Went into the Open, not being able to lock himself in. He just like, you know what? I'm going to do it my own dang way. He's going to win. He's going to try to win the All-Star, man. It's his race to lose. He's just put on a clinic already.
He's not taking no for an answer. Trevor Haley is going to easily walk into an All-Star Open win if he can hold on for the last 3 laps. And if a caution does not come out, battle for third, we're going to tune in again. There's the 71 fighting back on the inside. He's yet to get around this Sick Kids VS number 78 Chevrolet. Look at Kelly way loose into the corner, but he's still got the nose there.
It's just battling hard. Old tires, things slipping and sliding all under you. Screaming, trying to take a hold of it, just a crawl, and just trying to get the run off the corner is just so hard, especially late in the run. You know, slow speeds, low RPMs. It's just super hard trying to get everything rocking and rolling, but he might be able to hold on here. 2 to go. It's going to be a dogfight to the end.
And the 78 loose off the corner, and you got a really good onboard look from the 71 and the 78 of just how much you're having to play with the throttle in the middle of the corner just to go back to 100%. Coming out of the corner, white flag in the air in the All-Star Open for the 4 of Trevor Haley has pulled away easily over everybody else in the field, and the rookie driver in the dark horse number 4 CSX Ford Mustang is going to get to victory lane. He goes swimmingly into the All-Star main later tonight.
Just dominated, straight up dominated the Open. Kind of, you know, putting himself here is like, hey, I might be able to win the Open. I might be able to win the All-Star trying to get into it. So you never know. Craig Parks being the transfer, it's just, man, it was a really clean race. Nothing really crazy happened. Going into the All-Star, man, I'm excited.
So there's the entire field rolling by after a rather clean 50-lap All-Star Open. It is Trevor Haley in the number 4 getting to the victory by 2.3 seconds over the Drinking Bros Racing Chevrolet of Jesse Prees. Brady Cox comes home in 3rd. Curtis Kelly back behind him in 4th. Great battle between those two in the waning laps. Craig Parks holds on to the 5th and final transfer spot to the All-Star main. So we will see 2 rookie drivers, the 4 and the 17, joining all of the others locked into the race later on tonight. Michael Newbra on fresher tires could not catch up to Parks in the closing laps. He is P6. Kevin D'Elia back in 7th. Brandon Gillis is 8th. Ryan Panduccio in 9th. Rounding out the top 10 is the 42 of Christopher Bishop, then Timothy Cook, Eric Stewart, Tyler Murray, and Cody Kinsey, rounding out the 14-car field here in the All-Star Open. So it's all Trevor Haley winning this race, burning it down. I guess trying to practice for the eventual day where he gets a 4-wide win in the regular season. But great momentum here, Kyle, nonetheless, for Trevor Haley. Going to take all that experience and try to bring it to the main race against you and everybody else in it.
Yeah, you know, I'm kind of looking out for this number 4 car. He might be able to put some here in the All-Star. You know, having 50 more laps than anybody is definitely going to be a big advantage going into this race with just seeing how bad the tires would fall off. But good for him, man. I'm happy to see that 4 car be able to do some burnouts. Maybe you do some burnouts later in the year, but man, we're getting ready for the All-Star, man. Get a lot of really great racing. Kind of looking forward to this.
Well, I know you're going to be in there, so you're going to have to take a little bit of time to get yourself sorted and practice. But after just watching the 50-lap All-Star Open, what did you notice there? Is there anything you're going to try and use for the main race?
Yeah, just kind of keeping the tires under it. Just watching everybody just kind of, you know, fan out a little bit. It looks like you might be able to run multiple lanes, at least be able to defend. You know, with the scorching track temp, it's definitely going to be a big change. But hey, who knows, man? Who knows what's going to happen here? But I'm excited for it, no doubt in my mind, and you know, I'm ready for what comes up.
Well, it's going to be 150 grueling laps here in the scorching temps of North Wilkesboro, Kyle. We certainly appreciate it. We're going to get to the drivers who advanced into the main race will join all the others that are locked in. Trevor Haley, Jesse Prees, Brady Cox, Curtis Kelly, and Craig Parks. The top 5 in this open race are, of course, going to advance to the main later on tonight. On points, behind them will be Tyler Murray, the league owner, and Ryan Panduccio in the number 63. On the fan vote will be Christopher Bishop and Kevin D'Elia. So both of them are also going to take part in the main a little later on. We'll hop into another session. We'll get everything sorted. On behalf of everyone in the KBueno Racing Network, thank you for watching the All-Star Open. We'll be back in just a moment for the All-Star Main 150 laps here from the virtual North Wilkesboro Speedway.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
at the best. You got him 4 abreast. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws. Dirt Racing will be available September 27th. Pre-order your copy today.
Welcome back to coverage of the All-Star Race here from the virtual North Wilkesboro Speedway on the 4Wide Racing TJ's Team Series. Coverage of the 4Wide Racing TJ's Team Series is brought to you by iRacing. To get your sim racing career started today, join at iRacing.com. By TJ's Team. To learn more about the Foundation's mission to end pediatric cancer, go to wearmorethancape.org. And by Paul's Setup Shop. Welcome back to North Wilkesboro. Just finished up the 50-lap All-Star Open to get everybody transferred in to the 150-lap main here tonight in the booth. Kenneth Bueno, we had Kyle Benson with us earlier on for the Open. He's downstairs with his teammates to get ready for tonight's main race that he is already locked into. We had everybody advance top 5, then on points, and then by the fan vote, we had Trevor Haley, Jesse Breeze, Brady Cox, Curtis Kelly, and Craig Parks advance through the top 5 in the Open on a running position. Then on points came Ryan Pandizio and Tyler Murray. Then for the fan vote, Kevin D'Elia and the 42 of Christopher Bishop. We'll try to talk to one of those who finished inside the top 5. We'll get a word here quickly with Curtis Kelly, driver of the number 71 before we go racing in the main. And Curtis, you had a bit of experience with the 50 laps in that Open. What did you take away from that race that could potentially parlay into this 150-lap main race in the All-Star?
I'm going to say those of us that ran in the Open race are fortunate to have experienced the heat, so we're coming into this grippy track with a bit more confidence, I'd say. It's a lot more gripped up out here, so it's going to be a lot harder, funner racing. We were just trying to survive, a lot of us out there in the heat. It's 130 track temp, I think, but looking forward to battling it out here and hopefully getting some long runs like we got in the Open.
We saw a lot of switching in lanes, whether it's the very bottom, the middle, or some drivers even experimenting up top, and you found yourself in a couple of battles there at the end with the 78 of Brady Cox and trying to get around him. Was there any tidbits that you got from there, and how much fun was that to just race around the competition and try to experiment more with the track?
That was a lot of fun racing with Brady Cox there at the end. We were kind of just dueling a bit back and forth. I didn't want to make any crazy moves because we were both locked in at that point, but both lanes felt very even at times. You definitely get better exits out of the top and 4, but it's just good double lane racing now that we got that update for the heat going on in the iRacing.
I'm just going to say, Curtis, it was a lot of fun watching you out on track in the Open. Congratulations on advancing in the top 5 to the main race. Best of luck in the 150-lapper.
Appreciate it. Happy holidays.
So that's Curtis Kelly, driver of the number 71, putting in laps right now, already advanced into the main race. So has the 53 of Kevin D'Elia, the Skybox Racing teammate of the 71, and we'll talk a lot about the success of Skybox as they go into this All-Star race here. We're joined by Kevin now, and Kevin, you had the experience of driving in the 50 laps in the All-Star Open. You didn't make the top 5, but you did win the fan vote. So how good does that feel that you get that chance to now race with everybody here in this huge All-Star main event?
I mean, it feels pretty good. I definitely was not having a good time in the first race. Track temp was about 30 degrees higher, so the thing was just it couldn't get the rear end under it.
Well, regardless, you got to experiment a bit with the track, and Curtis said that it was nice to have the oval refresh and also nice to have the heat on the racetrack, because now you guys hop into this session with a bit more confidence. Is that the same case for you, and have you been able to put any laps here on this new session and get a sort of feel of how this one might pan out compared to the Open?
I put a few laps down. It definitely feels a lot better. I'm glad we had that time on the terrible surface, so we'll see see if the track time stays down in this one.
We're going to take the green here shortly for 150 grueling laps here at North Wilkesboro. And I want to talk about the teammate action and then the play you guys had over the open, now moving into the main race. Adam Alshire, your teammate, is locked in, but you three, it was you, Ryan Pandiscio, and Curtis Kelly, had to try and hustle your way through the open to get into this main race. How nice is it to have everybody in the Skybox Racing group to enter the main altogether?
I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, it's kind of it's not the greatest feeling having, you know, us three not in the chance just to be in the first race and not having to race our way in. But I'm glad everybody's here, and you know, Brandon's probably going to beat us all by a lot, and it's going to be great.
All right, well, nonetheless, Kevin, we certainly appreciate the time. Best of luck in the All-Star main later on.
All right, thank you.
That's the driver of the 53, Kevin D'Elia, getting set to go forward here, 150 laps on tap. A couple of pit stalls behind him is the number 42 of Christopher Bishop, who also was able to advance through the fan vote, much like the 53. So here we're joined by Christopher Bishop now. First of all, welcome, Christopher. And you had that chance to run the 50 laps in the All-Star Open. You get through on the fan vote. What are the feelings now and emotions as you roll into this All-Star event?
Happy to be up here in the race. The track's totally different. Time of day is different, and the track's got a lot more grip in it in this session. So we'll see if we can't go from the back and see how far forward we can get.
And talking about North Wilkesboro, first time that you guys really encounter it in the 4-Wide Racing TJ's Team Series. You have that a bit of extra experience now over those 50 laps. What did you take away from that, and what did you learn that could help you into this main race?
Be patient. That's the biggest thing. The track's so much different from that session to this session. There wasn't a lot to bring from that session into this one as far as you know, the way you drive the track, but just being patient and letting the race play out in front of you. Probably the best thing that I brought from the open.
I'm just going to say that Cowtails Ford Mustang looks really good on the racetrack, and it's nice to see it in the All-Star main here tonight for 150 laps. Christopher, best of luck in the All-Star main event, and hopefully it all goes well.
All right, thank you. You guys have a good night up there in the booth. You guys do a great job.
As Christopher Bishop, felt bad cutting him off there by accident. Didn't think thought he was done saying what he was going to say, but Christopher Bishop in the 42 going to be able to get into this 150 lap main race. Now, these were the drivers that were locked in prior to tonight's All-Star Open running, and of course, before we get the green flag tonight, this is the hefty list of drivers that have either won in season 5 or 6, have either been a champion in either season, or have won a pole. You'll see a lot of rookies in this list. Brandon Hawken, the most recent addition after he won at Watkins Glen last Wednesday. You've got guys like Adam Alshire, winner at Daytona. You've got AJ Green, Austin Reedy, two staples that have been around for a little while in this series. Ethan Fonseca Moreno, Jaden Porter, Luke Canup, the trio of drivers at a BBR, two of them rookies, Moreno and Canup being able to win 2 races this season. Then you've got guys like Patrick Thompson, who almost got his first win in Michigan, Rodney Roberts, Scott Healy, TJ Burst, among those that have also advanced through the Open. So a lot of drivers to keep an eye on, and many things on the horizon with this different session, and we'll see if that All-Star Open experience for many of the guys could potentially assist them, make them a little bit faster on a track that certainly is less hot. We had less grip in the last session with the Open at around 129 on the track temperature, but right now at 97, so really cool in comparison. Air temp still at 78, but the time of day is different, has transpired differently than it did in that first session. So we're definitely going to see more grip levels as these drivers put in these practice laps and as we slowly dive in to qualifying just now. Let's take another look at the track map with images, of course, provided to us by Google Earth. It is the very first time we visited this North Wilkesboro Speedway, which opened back in 1947, recently reopened in 2022. Welcome the Cars Tour had a really big turnout for that race with Dale Jr. racing the late models. It was 0.2625 miles, 1.006 kilometers. and of course with 13 degrees of banking in the turns, 3 degrees on the straightaways. But the biggest thing about this track to keep a note of, you're going downhill at the entrance of turn 1, you're going uphill at the entrance to turn 3 on the backstretch. So for that track to develop the way it is, built around the circumstance and the land around it, with the elevation change, that's also a really big thing to take account to as well. How you're going to hop on the brakes, exactly what you're going to do to attack this North Wilkesboro Speedway. And something really cool about this track, not the new renovated 2022 version that they have repaved and have put a lot of new signage around and have certainly revitalized that circuit in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. This track on iRacing is scanned from 2020 when they took out all of the debris, took out all the plants that are grown in the cracks in the speedway just to be able to scan it for iRacing. It was Dale Jr., all of the guys at Dirty Mo Media being able to sweep this racetrack from the mess it used to be, abandoned, and then made it in the sim, hence why you're seeing this really old 80s style North Wilkesboro Speedway on iRacing. Hopefully we get to see the new 2022-2023 version. Hopefully we'll get it at around the All-Star break for the NASCAR Cup Series later in 2024. But we've got this really classic version of North Wilkesboro on iRacing. Really tough to drive, got a lot of lack of grip, but this old surface really makes it a fun track to drive. We watch drivers in qualifying right now. A lot of things changing around. Brandon Hawkin, Curtis Kelly, Eric Schaefer so far at the top of the board. And there you're looking at Scott Healy in the number 64. Put his laps in. As there's a 54 of Brandon Banks, winner at Talladega earlier this season. So he'll put his laps in. Everybody's starting to join, and we're just getting about ready to get this one started. Now, we wanted to talk to the All-Star Open winner, Trevor Haley, who did advance in the number 4 car, but he is not in the Discord voice chat, so unfortunately, not going to be able to talk to him as of the moment. But what an impressive performance by car number 4. Trevor Haley was able to lead a bulk of that race and just outright took over the first position from Brady Cox on speed through the inside lane. Nobody could catch him to the end of the race. Trevor Haley being able to win that one outright over the 00 of Jesse Prees and the 78 of Brady Cox. So as you're watching these drivers put in their laps, just taking note of exactly what's working here over the 3 laps in quali and what times they can put up for track position at the start of our 150 lap main event. Here's Jesse Prees, driver who finished in 2nd in the open. Crossing the line, he puts in his respected time, and there's the number 4 of Trevor Haley. There he is diving into turn 1. A lot of promising stuff this season for Trevor Haley as a rookie driver in the series. Gonna come out of turn 2. You see there the uphill approach into turns 3 and 4. You go right to the bottom end of the 13 degrees of banking, come right downhill the exit of 4, and take the start-finish line. So the lap there for car number 4. We've got Brandon Hawkin at the top of the board. Looks like Trevor Haley had a remarkable time, 19.122. So that will get him in a 2nd. As there's a look at the 28, Jaden Porter, defending series champion, coming across turn 4 and out of the start-finish line. And this will be his first official lap, so trying to run the middle one. We saw what the oval refresh was able to do to iRacing and to this series when we visited the Atlanta Motor Speedway. All of the different lines at play, whether you were at the bottom, middle, or the very top, and just how the track temp was able to fluctuate which lines were grippier and which part of the track, either in 1 and 2 or 3 and 4, would be faster. And we did see a bit of that sprinkle in throughout the All-Star Open. Many drivers are trying the middle or even a bit of that 3rd lane, seeing what kind of approach it could give them to the exit of the corner. A lot of drivers taking the diamond approach. A lot of that did help with rotation. And there's car number 28, Jaden Porter rather, coming across 19.3. We'll put him in 8th place with around 5.5 minutes left here in qualifying. Jesse Prees putting in a 19.516. Here he is coming out of the final corner. So he'll cross the start-finish line. Looks like a bit of an improvement, 19.528. But his best lap, a 19.369, getting him into 15th. How about the Season 4 champ, Lawson Peel, in car number 12. Been able to win 2 races this season. And one of the drivers to always watch out for when you go to these short tracks. His last win came at Pocono, the 2.5 miler, but then was able to win at Auto Club. It has won at Phoenix, has performed well at some of the other shorter tracks. Nashville, very tough track to drive. At Bristol, almost took over the win against Ethan Fonseca Moreno. And And there's the number 12 coming to a stop. He puts the fastest time on the board, 19.1. And a beautiful time set there by the 12 of Lawson Peel. So it looks like that will get everybody done and dusted for the qualifying session. We'll take a short break and we'll be right back with more coverage of the 4Wide Racing TJ's Team Series All-Star Race here from the virtual North Wilkesboro Speedway.
It's the thirstiest time of the year. I have just one query.
Want a Sprite cranberry?
The answer is clear. It's the thirstiest time of the year. Sprite, let's go.
Who wins the race? Kerwin!
It is Femi Olat, the sophomore.
Tipsy the head of you catch me is something you'll never do. I turn around and I love you. No motivation is needed. Look, I put myself on the pedestal. This is incredible. This how it feels at the top. Got no incentive to stop. And the train is moving the beat and it's right back to sleeping. I used to take me then and give me energy. All the work and I'm out of here. All of the tune is about it. Was moving the beat and it's right back to sleeping. I used to take me then and give me here. I give it all that I got.
Welcome back to coverage of the All-Star Race for the 4Wide Racing TJ's Team Series right here on the KBueno Racing Network. So happy to have you, Kenneth Bueno, up in the broadcast booth with you tonight, and it has been a lot of fun watching the All-Star Open, then to watch the drivers advance either through the top 5, the point standings, or the 2 drivers in the fan vote, and then of course a bit of the qualifying action before we get started here from North Wilkesboro Speedway. Again, the first time that we see this track in 4Wide history. Surprised that we haven't seen it before in this series, but making its debut as the All-Star event. No points on the line tonight, just all about having fun as we move forward through the schedule. And speaking of the schedule, we'll hop into it just quickly before we get to the starting grid of the All-Star main race tonight. Here's a look at the entire schedule, what to expect for 2024 and beyond to playoff time. We've got Darlington next up, so we continue with some of the storied oval tracks on the sim and in real life. So Darlington will host the regular season race on January 10th. Have a special broadcast for that here on the KBueno Racing Network. We'll head to Kansas Speedway after Indianapolis Raceway Park. We'll have a bit of an Indy doubleheader with the Indianapolis Oval happening right after on race number 17. We'll head to Texas, Iowa, Talladega, and by that time, we are entering the playoffs at Chicagoland Speedway. That'll kick off the drivers that are trying to get into the championship race and that journey for them. They're going to go all the way to Homestead of Miami later on in 2024. Going to try to decide exactly who will lift the trophy for Season 6 of the 4Wide Racing TJ's Team Series. We have seen so many different champions we haven't seen a repeat yet. We've got a lot of drivers that have so far entered this season that might have a shot at it. So stay tuned. Our next broadcast, January 10th, 2024, right here on the KBueno Racing Network. So drivers are on the starting grid right behind the iRacing official pace car. So let's get you through all the drivers that will roll off for this 150-lap main event for the All-Star race here from the virtual North Wilkesboro Speedway. Lawson Peel, Season 4 champ, gonna roll off first with his 19.1, second time in qualifying. He's got the rookie phenom, Luke Knupp, out of the Arizona region in the 45 on his outside. First two to see the green flag. Watkins Glen winner Brandon Hawken for Skybox is going to be third. Trevor Haley, the winner of the All-Star Open, puts up a great qualifying effort to put him in fourth place on the outside of row 2 for the green. Lance Hill going to start in fifth. AJ Green going to be on the outside in P6 in row number 3. Row 4 will feature the 71 of Curtis Kelly. Great qualifying effort for him after advancing through the open. And Colin Forrester in the number 99 on his outside. Rounding out the top 10 is a pair of DBR drivers, Brandon Banks in the 54, and the points leader heading into the All-Star break, Eric Schaefer, rolling off in 10th. Jaden Porter, the defending champ, going to try to bring that magic to an All-Star win tonight from 11th. Scott Healy behind him in 12th place in row 6. Craig Lounslogger is in row 7th, inside in 13th. Adam Alishire is 14th when we get the green. Brady Cox, who finished inside the top 3 in the All-Star Open, is 15th at the green tonight. Tyler Murray on his outside got in through the point standings. He is 16th at the outside of row number 8. Kyle Benson, who joined us in the booth for the All-Star Open, going to be 17th at the green in the main in row 9. Jesse Prees on his outside in 18th place. Kevin D'Elia in the 53 for Skybox Racing is 19th place. And Craig Parks rounding out the top 20 on row number 10. Row number 11, another Skybox Toyota, Ryan Pandicio, the rookie driver. Christopher Bishop on his outside in 22nd, got in as the second driver through the fan vote. He is the last of the drivers to take place here at this All-Star main event from North Wilkesboro Speedway. So it's 150 laps, and while we saw pretty high track temperatures in the 120s for the All-Star Open, it's way cooler this time around. Track temp at 91 degrees, 78 degrees in the air temp. Winds pretty strong to the northeast at around 7 to 8 miles an hour. Partly cloudy conditions to get us through this evening's race. Should take us around 47 minutes if we go green from start to finish. Saw one caution plague the All-Star Open, but ever since then we have been green flag racing. We'll see if the same trend happens here in the main, or if drivers get a little more chippy trying to get to the main cash prize and to get to the checkered flag first. Pace car is down. It's Lawson Peel and Luke Knupp, and we are All-Star Racing from North Wilkesboro. And look at the big check up there in turn 2. Lawson Peel going into the outside wall. He's got a couple of more cars loose before the entrance of turn 3. Brandon Banks is going to go sideways. He'll pick it up, and it is an absolute melee at around the mid-pack. Everybody checking up for the 12 car who went sideways out of the corner, got into the wall, now has been trapped inside the latter half of the top 10, trying to go up against the 64 of Scott Healy, but that car ripped away from his fingertips, and Luke Knupp, in turn, has taken the race lead at lap 2. And one thing that Kyle Benson told us in the middle of the All-Star Open was, as a driver, you have to be patient. You cannot be too eager and quick on that throttle pedal until you get right out of that corner, because this car, even with the lower track temperature at 91 degrees, it is still going to step out sideways, and you're going to have a whale of a time trying to get around it. Caution flag in the air. Looks like Kevin D'Elia in trouble. Looks like the rear clip completely torn off the Skybox Supra. So first caution early. Looks like the damage only assessed to the 53 of D'Elia. We'll try and take a look and see exactly what happened to D'Elia as he was going through turns 3 and 4. So this is right in the mid-pack, and D'Elia started pretty far back in the field. This is around all of the All-Star Open drivers. Brady Cox, you look at Ryan Pandicio, Jesse Priest, Tyler Murray. And at the inside of 3 and 4, looks like Adam Alishire got checked up. Everybody slowed down, and then the 53 just gets hit as he was trying to go through. Unfortunately, got a bit of the contact, and around he went. So here's a look on board with the 53 of D'Elia coming through turns 1 and 2. So you're going uphill into turns 3 and 4. This 91 car up the road will get way sideways. 53 tries to slow down. Looks like he gets that little bit of a nudge, and then a second tap by his teammate, Ryan Pandicio. Exactly what tore off the rear clip on the 53. It won't exactly be race-ending damage, but it will be track position damaging. So he'll drop to dead end of the field. 20 seconds is where he'll fall. And everybody will roll behind the iRacing official pace car on our first caution here of the All-Star race in virtual North Carolina. So Lawson Peel, with that little mistake in the opening lap, has dropped back to 9th place and has luckily been able to rebound. Doesn't appear to be that much damage on the right side of his Chevrolet Camaro. You see a bit of a crinkle there on the right quarter panel as he tank slapped the wall. But for the most part, we'll be able to continue with a rather clean ex-Chevrolet Camaro. Just a part of driving here in North Wilkesboro, especially with cars that don't necessarily have all that much grip. If you drive here with a next-gen car, you will spin the tires for sure if you get eager on the throttle, but it won't be that catastrophic. With this Xfinity Series car, once it steps out, and especially when it wheel hops under braking, it can be really tough to recover from. And the 12 just dealing with the cold tires and that early start. Just fell back, but is able to save his race for the moment. So we'll get the 1 to green signal from the iRacing official pace car. Luke Knupp in turn, taking away the race lead in a brand new Phoenix-inspired number 45. Brandon Hawken right on his inside, driver who picked up his first career 4-wide win at Watkins Glen last week, dominating the race, leading all of the 55 laps in upstate New York. If he can run away with an all-star win here tonight, surely would be huge on the momentum side for him, but he will have to beat car number 45 as we get to the green flag. Pace cars down, fresh off the first caution of the race. First restart, lap number 9. Solid jump by the 45. Knupp's going to be able to hold on the top. You saw the 99 of Colin Forster get out of shape. He's battling his teammate, AJ Green. The entrance of turns 3 and 4 will have to give way to the next car in line, Eric Schaefer, who's pioneering the bottom here with Lance Hill right behind him on the outside. And about a 3-way fight for 9th. There is 71. Curtis Kelly among those of all. Looks like Brady Cox got into trouble. So has Jaden Porter. And both of them are slowed up on the racetrack. Cox with severe front-end damage. Well, it looks like the engine has gone out on car number 78. Brady Cox bringing out our second caution. We're on lap number 11. We'll see what happens. See Craig Launslager getting way out of shape. There's Jaden Porter, and there's the contact made between the two. The 28 goes sideways. Cox overcorrects into Alishire and Pandicio, a pair of Skybox Supras. So for Cox, unfortunately, gets the worst end of it. We're right on board, and this is just behind Craig Launslager. So he gets loose, goes out of shape. So does Jaden Porter, and it appears that the 78 doesn't necessarily know that the 28 is going to come up right on the inside. So that makes that contact, unfortunately gets him unsettled, and that's what causes the caution. Here's a look from Porter. So Porter goes for the spin. All just came about getting loose at the exit of 4. Here's a look from the 28 on the in-car. Right up the hill, a car goes out and is able to save it, but as he's trying to rejoin, there goes the 78 arcing down. Sort of reminds you of what happened between Matt Kenseth and Alex Bowman back in 2016 at Phoenix, where the 88 car was on the very inside, the 20 car was trying to arc it into the corner, and unfortunately they both came together, made that contact. So Brady Cox didn't exactly know that the 28 was going to be there at the entrance of the corner. They both merge, and that is the reason for this caution flag. Second one as we roll through lap number 13 of 150. So, of course, most of this field getting their first reps of race conditions here in this All-Star main race. We did have, of course, a lot of the drivers in the 50-lap open race talk about their experiences, how that might exactly help them coming into this race, and certainly working out for this pair right here in 8th and 9th. Curtis Kelly in the 71, Trevor Haley in the 4 car, both of them advancing through top 5 running position. And as we talked to Curtis Kelly, did, of course, mention the fact that with this cooler track temperature in comparison to the one in the open, you're going to have a lot more grip, and it's going to be necessarily easier to drive with these Xfinity Series cars. You won't have that lack of grip, therefore probably going to be a little easier to roll through the corners and get out of it. And so it's working wonders here for the 71 and the 4, being able to roll well in the open, now rolling well in the main race. Second restart here, lap number 15 of 150. Inside of turns 1 and 2 goes the 45 of Luke Knupp. Brandon Hawken right behind. Colin Forrester looking to make it about for second place. Entering the uphill turn 3. And there's his teammate AJ Green right behind him, coming out of turn 4. And we'll watch on board with AJ Green. This is exactly how you drive here in North Wilkesboro, and you can easily tell just how much faster they're getting to the throttle with this cooler track temperature. When we were riding on board with drivers through the All-Star Open, it took them way longer to even think about getting on 100% accelerator going out of the corner. But for these drivers here, the cooler track temperature has allowed them to put in the throttle a little bit sooner and much more confidently. They've all single-filed at around most of the top 10. Here's the first side-by-side battle. Trevor Haley on the inside of Lawson Peel. And onwards goes the 4 car. Lawson Peel looking at a crossover, almost gave him the bump entering turns 1 and 2. We're going to see that a lot here at this short track. Drivers getting rather physical. Haley way loose out of 2. Now moving through goes the 38 of Kyle Benson. We saw him put in some qualifying laps and, of course, was in practice taking part, was in the booth with us just a couple of moments ago for the All-Star Open. Gave us perspective, had a lot of fun in that one, and always nice to have Kyle Benson join us in the booth whenever he can. Last time he did was last season at COTA. Boy, that was a lot of fun to have him up there as he sat the race out with the 38, making some nice moves here early up to the top 10. Most of the field all single file, tailing behind this number 45 of Luke Knupp, and here is the 98 of Brandon Hawken taking place. Just trying to set himself up nicely for what these next couple of laps are going to be. Of course, it's still a really long race, 130 laps left. But if you're the 98 of Brandon Hawken, you want to set this pass up, get right into clean air immediately, and then just worry about tire saving from there, just following right in the tracks of the 45. Looks like he's staying in that same line that Knupp is, just floating a little high through the entrance of turn 3 and even a bit here in 1 and 2. Right to the middle, then trying to diamond it right to the bottom. Looks like a shorter line here for the 98. Great move off the corner. Might have an attempted pass to the inside of the 45. Knupp will give him the space. Battle for the lead at lap 22. And we saw on a really hot track temperature just exactly what Trevor Haley could do at the very bottom of the racetrack with pressure on the outside. But it's all up to Brandon Hawken to try to find some space down low and get that momentum off the corner. Looks like no match for the run that Knupp had out of turn 2. But he'll check up in the center of 3 and 4, give him the opportunity to come back at it. But Hawken is going to settle back in line, back in single file action here at lap number 24. Here's a bit of side-by-side action for 15th place. Craig Lautenschlager on the inside of Ryan Pandiccio. And Lautenschlager trying his best to get to the inside of the 63 and clear him out of turn 4. Him and Jay and Porter, of course, got loose at the exit of 4 to bring out the caution between Porter and Brady Cox, but the 13 didn't pick up any damage from that, just saved the race car. And that was all she wrote. Here's the Ryzen AMD number 13. Driver out of Euless, Texas, trying to move through, and look at the battles up in front. Jaden Porter, Brandon Banks, Jesse Breeze. How about the 2 teammates from Drinking Bros Racing going at it? So they'll push through. The Reese's Chevrolet going to stay out in front. It looks like the battle continues between the 28 and the 00. Lawson Peel certainly trying to get back to the front after getting loose on lap number 1 and falling to the tail end of the top 10. but unfortunately hasn't been able to really pick up the progress. He's only moved up to 8th, fell down to 9th after the first little squabble out of the corner. But it's been slow, possibly sure for the 12 car, but hasn't been all that noticeable as he rides right behind the Season 2 champ, Scott Healy, in the number 64. Battle for the lead again. Brandon Hawken back to the inside of the 45, and caution flag is out. Looks like Tyler Murray, and looks like Trevor Haley got involved in it. There's the 4 car. And there's Tyler Murray in the 36 involved. You see some of the right front damage on his TJ's team Ford Mustang. And Trevor Haley, unfortunately, looks like got the brunt of the impact, and we'll see what happened at the entrance of turns 1 and 2. So this was in the fight right behind Kyle Benson. Got loose out of turn 4. In comes the 54 of Banks. Oh, it just goes sideways, hopping on the brakes, gets hit by the 54, then the 00. And the 36 just comes plowing in, hopped on the brakes, and could not save it. And around they went. We'll see if we can get a better look here on board with the 4 car coming out of the final quarter. Now, we saw this with Tyler Murray in the All-Star Open. He was luckily able to save it as it went up the racetrack. But for Trevor Haley, not the same fate. Listen in. You can just tell it steps out, and then in comes the 36. Bam! Onto the 4 car. And that rear damage is going to put Trevor Haley to the back of the field. He has already put it down pit road. And it looks like he's going to join the field. He won't necessarily go a lap down, so that's good news for him. But he will lose all that track position. He'll have to work his way back from position number 18. Looks like Adam Alashire, he's fallen a lap down. Tyler Murray has hit pit road, so is Brandon Banks in the 54. Kevin D'Elia, Jesse Prees, Craig Parks, and the 13 of Craig Lownslager. So another quick caution here, lap number 31 of 150 here from North Wilkesboro. And what a fight it was by Brandon Hawken trying to get to the inside of Luke Canup. Tried his dearest to go to the inside multiple times, just could not do it. And this oval refresh on iRacing certainly has helped amplify all the other lanes instead of the very bottom. Before, if you ran the bottom, that was your bread and butter. If you didn't give it up, you were going to stay up front. And as long as you kept your tires intact, you were going to win the race. Now, we're seeing a lot more lines at play. We're seeing the middle diamonding to the inside. We're seeing a bit of the very top line in 3 just come into the foreground. There's a lot more differentiation in the way drivers are able to attack the corner, and part of the magical essence of the oval refresh, just being able to experiment more with different lines, especially as the track temperature heats up and cools down. Back for the green flag, lap 33. Great jump by the 45 of Luke Canup, able to hold on with the 98 of Brandon Hawken. Battle for 4th settling out between the 99 of Colin Forcer. There's the 3 of Eric Schaefer. And how about Lawson Peel trying to use the outside, but caution out again. And it looks like it's Tyler Murray and Jaden Porter. And Murray has ditched the car to pit road. We have a huge stack up, and we'll see what happens. See there, that purple and white number 28 of Jaden Porter. It started up here with him and Ryan Pandisho going into the corner. Oh, Pandisho just got into him. And hard into the wall goes Porter. Hard into the 28 goes the 36. And even the 4 car, Trevor Haley, got a bit end of that. So take a look here for Murray. Did not expect the 28 to be there, and already lost the car entering the corner, so he had to chase it up there anyway. And unfortunately, just goes right into the direction, the path of the 28 car. Here's a look from Trevor Haley, who we saw get into one of the most recent cautions tonight. Hey man, Murray just trying to pick up track position lost. And all of a sudden, the 4 car will notice what happens and not able to really get out of it. Just gets hip checked on the right front and gets a bit more damage. He has taken his CSX Dark Horse Ford Mustang to pit road, and that will add to the list of cars that might be out of the race. There's Jaden Porter already fallen a lap down. He has taken it down pit road. Looks like Tyler Murray, significant damage on his car. The engine smoking, so he might just be out of this completely. Here, lap number 36. So once more, we will be under the caution flag. We'll see if we can try to get a word in with the driver of the 36 and Tyler Murray and try to get his perspective on exactly what happened there. Tough break, Tyler, of course, 2 incidents back-to-back. Just tell us what happened from your perspective there.
Yeah, in that first one, I couldn't really tell you what happened. I was just trying to ride around there, let some of these guys clean each other out. Teammates ahead of me called the wreck as I was entering the corner high, and the pile up was sitting up against the wall, and I stepped on the brakes too hard trying to cut down below it and slid into the side of Haley, and just seemed to get more damage than I thought I was going to. It had some wheel damage, came back out there, tried to get some of it fixed, and it was just that one lap after that restart, it wasn't driving right, so I was trying to get up out of the way, and as soon as I tried to get up out of the way, it just survived to have a chance to work on my car. Jaden was sitting there sideways and had nowhere to go.
Well, unfortunate there. You got into that contact, and you're going to spend a lot of that time just trying to repair the car. Hopefully you can get back in it. Still a long way to go. Best of luck, Tyler, and tough break on the incident there.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Have a good show, man.
So that is the number 36, Tyler Murray, unfortunately getting involved in that incident. We're getting ready for the green flag restart at lap 39 of 150. Pair of Toyotas still at the front row. Luke Knupp in the 45, Brandon Hawken in the 98 on the inside. Really interesting to see how Luke Knupp has been utilizing the top lane on the restarts. It's helped them keep the lead for now. Brandon Hawken, though, has not held back the pressure. Green flag back in the air. Good start by the front runners. Going into turn 1, Hawken will have the inside lane. Luke Knupp will try and clear, helped by the 99 of Colin Forster, but Hawken's going to stick it in. He's got it. Fight for the inside of the race lead at lap 39. And Hawken is going to stay put, so he is not going to relinquish that spot to the 45 of Knupp. He will try ideally to take away this race lead at lap number 40 with around 110 laps to go, but out of turn 2, not successful. Give Luke Knupp the race lead back again, and just trying to stay in front of all this traffic that is built up behind him. Colin Forster peeked on the inside of Hawken for a second. Now in a fight with his own teammate, AJ Green. Nice fight for third. Huge single file line of cars behind him. And here's a look on board with the points leader, the 3 of Eric Schaefer. He's trying to find his footing here in North Wilkesboro over this all-star race, and has been able to be consistent all season long, taking a bit of a break from what could be a championship favorite pursuit for car number 3, and a car that he certainly wanted to have in this series when we had the next gens around. You can see the line that Schaefer's trying to take, just diming it down to the inside of the racetrack off of turn 4. No real ground gained yet on the driver in front in the 48, but the battle for the lead continues to heat up. Here's Brandon Hawken on the inside. And when Trevor Haley took the lead in the All-Star Open earlier tonight, it took a lot of patience trying to get around that 78 of Brady Cox, who held on to the race lead for a lap after a lap. But then the 4-car pushed through on the very bottom. That's exactly what Brandon Hawken is going to try to do. Now the question is, does he alternate his line and try to pass on the outside if he's not fully able to complete the pass on the bottom? So far, answer has been no. He's either followed or alternated to the inside of the 45. In relative as a caution out again. Looks like Kyle Benson is in it. Oh, tough break for Benson. Looks like Craig Lounslager got a piece of the damage. Looks like he has entered pit road. And 2 Murray Reedy Motorsports Ford Mustangs get involved in this one. Here's a look at it. So it looks like entrance of 3 and 4, fighting with Lance Hill and Lawson Peel. Oh, and the 38 to Scott Lewis hooks the 13. And there goes the 12, there goes the 1, hard into the wall. Our biggest crash of the night by far. Look at how many cars got into that. And all starting with the 38 just getting loose and tagging the 13. So we'll look at it here from Lance Hill. See, Benson just gets loose. The 1 has to check up, and he gets hit from the back. And all of a sudden goes right back into the racing surface. Jesse Prees, Craig Parks, Adam Alshire getting a piece of it. Looks like a really hard hit for the 12 of Lawson Peel, who was just trying to recover after starting tonight on the pole. Here's a look from Peel. Absolutely nowhere he could go, and then came Lance Hill and company coming right back up the track, tags his teammate, Brandon Banks, who as a slap to the outside wall. And many cars involved into this one. This sounds like a 50 Cent song with the amount of many men that were involved in that incident, as there come the leaders. Craig Parks, looks like Jaden Porter behind him, those guys who stayed out on the last lap. But Luke Knupp will lead him out of the final corner and leads him out of pit road. He continues to lead this race as we approach 100 laps left from North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. More coverage on the other side of the All-Star race of the 4 Wide Racing TJ's Team Series, live on the KBueno Racing Network.
Who wins the race? Her win! It is Kenneth Bueno, the sophomore!
I give it all that I got.
You wanted the best, you got him for a rest. Often imitated, never duplicated. The greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws. Dirt Racing will be available September 27th. Pre-order your copy today.
Welcome back to North Wilkesboro. Big fight for the lead. Brandon Hawken on the inside of the 45 slid up into him. They both made contact, and they are all over the place. Behind him, Colin Forrester trying to hold off this huge pack of cars. Eric Schaefer, AJ Green, Scott Healy. Among those, it looked like Ryan Pandiscio got loose behind them, but they all stacked up as they were getting that green flag restart. But they all go single file, and Luke Knupp able to hold the lead at lap 53, but chaotic stuff. But intuition taking hold and keeping all of these drivers at least stable for the moment. So Knupp will hold on to the spot. Hawken, Forrester, rounding out your top 3. Eric Schaefer, AJ Green right behind him. Looks like first side-by-side battle was around 9th place. Craig Parks fighting on the inside. That's Kyle Benson still flushed up top. So for the 38, that Cheez-It Ford Mustang is still able to contend in this race despite being pretty bruised and wounded, this Cheez-It car. And Craig Parks, one of those to advance from the All-Star Open earlier on tonight. Same deal with Ryan Pandiscio and Curtis Kelly ahead. So a lot of the Open drivers performing well and surviving a lot of the attrition and the chaos tonight from North Wilkesboro. Look on board with Kyle Benson holding on to 10th and splitting in front of 3 more drivers. Actually, make that 4 more drivers that also did advance through the Open. Trevor Haley, Christopher Bishop, Jesse Preece, and Kevin D'Elia. These guys going side by side. This is for 11th. Part of the toughness of driving at North Wilkesboro Speedway is, of course, the lack of grip, but also the lack of space. Oftentimes at these short tracks, you'll see big wrecks happen because either 2 or 3 cars get involved, maybe even just one. They come right back onto the track, and many more others just don't have space to get around the wreck. Unfortunately, can't get through the hole in the wall, and they just come pummeling into the wreck. And that's exactly what we saw on our last caution, just a big stack up with Lance Hill, Lawson Peel, Craig Lautenschlager, and of course, the 38 of Kyle Benson that we saw a little bit earlier, and it looks like it has taken the 13 of Lautenschlager out of the race. Adam Allenshire also pulled it behind the wall. So add to the list of DNFs with Brady Cox in the 78, who got DNF'd earlier on in tonight's race. Attrition slowly building up here in this All-Star event. Now, the good news is, of course, if you do get into a crash, it's not going to affect you for the rest of the season. You'll still have a shot at Darlington in a couple of weeks. Won't necessarily have to worry all too much about the ramifications of this race. Despite how poorly this one goes for you, it could hurt your morale a little bit, but after you get over the Christmas break, back to the regular season you go, most importantly, on the minds of the drivers in this field. Here's AJ Green, driver out of Clemens, North Carolina. The sophomore at Guilford Technical College. Saw him a couple of times in the eNASCAR iRacing College Series earlier this year. And Green running surprisingly well here in his Drydle Beef number 48 Toyota Supra, running inside the 4th position. Him and Colin Forster have been here practically all night long, and could be tallied to the amount of caution flags we've had tonight. Definitely helped them keep their track position, but even then, on raw pace, these drivers have had what it takes, put in enough practice. They've got some decent speed, and while they haven't been able to fully break past the little barrier separating them and the top 2 leaders, Hawken and your race leader at the moment looking up, they've been able to hold on for 3rd and 4th. And for now, in a race that has been filled with cars being taken out, cars being spun around, and this driver's making mistakes overall, certainly a blessing to have yourself up in this top 4 without any significant problem. Here's a look on board with Brandon Hawken, the driver of the 98, has elevated Skybox Racing from a pretty much 4-car team with a lot of prowess to a 5-car group with now a stellar driver behind the wheel taking center stage. This driver has been the face of Skybox ever since entering an Atlanta Motor Speedway and then winning his first career race at Watkins Glen. Here he is taking the inside of now lapped car Lawson Peel. Hard to say that with the 12. I mean, certainly a lot of damage. He's rolling in 16th right now, but he'll let everybody by on the outside lane. And Brandon Hawken, just what an impressive driver he is stepping into this series, and as competition continues to rise, Hawken, part of that new school of drivers that have been able to win a couple of races, to run up front. And much like the 45 of Luke Knupp, how stellar he's been throughout the campaign and winning 2 races and being able to just strut his stuff, taking his most recent win in Atlanta, which was Hawkins' first start. And funny enough, these 2 were the drivers battling for the win at Atlanta, and also going 1 and 2 at Watkins Glen with Lawson Peel back in 3rd. Car number 45 continues to hold on to the lead. We'll see if any of that changes. Hawkins' all attempts at the inside lane to get under have so far not been fruitful. Here's a look at position 5 and 6. Eric Schaefer, the 3-car, and the 64 of Scott Healy, Season 2 champion of 4-Wide Racing TJ's Team Series. Back when we ran the Gen 6 cars, brought his number 64 Chevrolet Camaro to a walk-off championship. And it has been considerably consistent tonight for the 64 here in the All-Star race. Currently in P6, has held on to his position basically ever since. Look at the live stats there on the bottom end of your screen, right at around 78-ish miles an hour. And it can get really slow in the middle of the corners here, especially after a long run. We saw in the All-Star Open, for comparison, with a 129-degree track temperature, your lowest speeds came around 74 miles an hour. Caution out again. Looks like another car in trouble near the rear of the pack. And it's Lawson Peel, once again, finding the grass in turns 1 and 2. Going to be able to dig himself out of that hole, but does bring out the yellow regardless. We'll see exactly what happened to the Season 4 champion of the series. Already out of shape coming out of turn 4. Looks like his left side completely torn up. And as he entered turns 1 and 2, the car just stepped out. No real help there around him. Ryan Pandiccio possibly could have been the help, but not necessarily the case. Goes around in the 12, able to pick it up, but that sideways moment going to bring out the caution here at lap 70. So once again, field in the hands of Luke Knupp, still able to hold on to the race lead. And Brandon Hawken attempted to pass on the inside. You saw it with the onboard camera of Scott Healy, but again, Hawken really hasn't been able to get there. He's either hoping for a mistake out of car number 45 or just a faster alternative route that isn't the inside lane, but that pressure kept up in the middle groove by the 45 enough to hold the 98 at bay. And as we head into the final 80 laps here of this all-star race from North Wilkesboro, it's all Toyotas at the top 4. Knupp, Hawken, Forster, and Green bearing that Toyota badging on the front end of their race cars. So far, the dominating drivers of the night. by far. We'll bring in back the 38 of Kyle Benson, who currently is trying to repair the race car. Kyle, I mean, before we get into the rest of what this race is going to entail, just talk to us about the experience. I know it didn't go the way you quite planned, but what did you see out of the front windshield?
It was wild. Definitely a different animal from what I was watching recently, but man, it's a lot of fun. You're just nose to tail on top of each other, but you know, car was destroyed. You know, I made an unfortunate mistake coming out of 4 and, you know, collected cars I didn't want to collect, so. And I knew it was going to be a hazard all night, so I just decided to park it and decided to come back in the booth with you.
Well, I'd say I'm certainly happy that I'm going to have somebody else in the booth now, because I've been alone this entire broadcast for the most part in the All-Star race, but unfortunate that, of course, the damage has hit you and the car isn't necessarily performing at full song. I know that some of your teammates were involved in accidents too. Craig Lounslager, I know Tyler Murray was involved in an incident, and he's still trying to repair his car on pit road. Not exactly the night for Murray Motorsports, but hey, at least it's an all-star race. No points involved this time.
Right, we're trying to get out of the way as much as we can, but it's just kind of been like that kind of all year. You know, we just been getting caught up in wrecks, and you know, not really trying to get into stuff that we're not trying to be a part of. But we also just can't. I don't know why. Recently, I can't put a race together, but you know, hopefully after this break, man, I just go back to what I was used to doing and just put a good season together from here on out.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of talent in that Murray Beauty Motorsports stable, so you guys have what it takes to be one of the top teams in the series. As we get ready for this restart of lap 75, boy, has this race been all Luke Knupp and Brandon Hawken. They have not been in any other position other than first and second. They have been up here all race long. Could help with the yellow flags that are freezing track position, but even under green circumstances, these two have not been beaten. We'll see if that changes here. Green flag at lap 75 of 150. 45 and 98 go 1-2, diving into the first two corners in the 48 of AJ Green, able to clear his teammate Colin Forster for third. How about Scott Healy trying to make the outside work on car number 99? Three-way fight for fifth.
Yeah, just being able to run that outside lane, getting the grip off the top of the track, and he's going to smack the wall a little bit, going to force Eric Schaefer down to the bottom, going to be two-way fight for fifth. As they're just starting to brew up, they're going to run off the top side. It's going to maybe clear him going into 3. Good battle here for fifth as Schaefer's going to try to run the bottom and try to clear him.
And here's Brandon Hawken again, looking underneath this 45 car. Every single attempt has not panned out in a situation where he ends up with the race lead, but it's all about just trying, right? Getting to the inside, either forcing that 45 into a mistake or just seeing exactly what's happening. But if you're this 98 car, Kyle, you've spent the entire race behind the 45. What do you do to try and change this up if you want to get around for the lead?
You just got to keep peeking, keeping the nose there. Make sure you see his nose, because if he might make a mistake if his nose is down there, and that's your opportunity. You know, it's just trying to make sure you're just there and just make sure you keep fighting him the whole time and just trying to make sure that he doesn't get away from you.
Well, if you're the 98 of Brandon Hawken, I'm sure every driver has a different mentality, but in your case, Kyle, would you get frustrated staying behind a car like the 45, or do you know there's such a long race left that even if you're second for most of the race, it won't necessarily hurt, as there's a mistake by the 45, slipped up, and here comes the 98.
Yeah, just got to keep your head in it, because, you know, you start to get a little annoying as then you start overthinking stuff, then you just start making big mistakes and critical ones. And you just got to make sure you keep your head in it, just make sure you're just driving your line. And, you know, that was a big mistake out of Luke, and just making sure he's there. You know, that was one of the mistakes I was talking about. He's going to peek in the inside of turn 3 and 4. Might get there. He will not. So Luke cannot be able to hold on. He's just been full sailing, just him and Brandon Hawken in the 1 and 2.
They're pulling away from AJ Green, who settled into third over his teammate Colin Forster, then Eric Schaefer, Scott Healy, and even a bit of Ryan Pandicio, who has joined this group to make it around 4 or 5 cars in this pack. And maybe even adding Curtis Kelly. Two of the Skybox Toyota Supras from the All-Star Open have been able to do pretty well here in this All-Star main race. They're flourishing at this stage, and so is Craig Parks behind him in 9th place. They're all single file, though, trying to save their tires, as here's Eric Schaefer. Found a look underneath the 99, so the Jacksonville Florida native will have to play a bit of defense here on Schaefer.
Yeah, Schaefer's just been pushing him all night long. Just going to be able to rotate on the bottom side. Just really can't get that run off like the top can. Was going to get a nice low exit. Going to be side by side with him. Forster smacks the wall a little bit. Schaefer's just trying as Healy's going to try to follow him through.
Here's the 64 on the inside. Look at the sideways moment by the 3 of Eric Schaefer. These guys have been experiencing it all night long. And Kyle, I can imagine that these guys are thinking they're lucky stars. They were not in the track weather that we had in the All-Star Open, because if they were in that 129-degree track temperature, they would be all over the place. But even at 91 to start this All-Star main, they are flipping and flapping all over the racetrack. And the 3 car is able to get around the 99. The 64 still not successful, and is pursued on the inside. Forster will hold on to it for now.
Yeah, the flipping and flapping, I love that. Just being able to, hold the rear end down there, because it's really been hard all night long, and it looks like he was going to get by on the bottom. Just the outside just starting to fall off just a little bit with those rear tires starting to get a little hot.
So the 64 moves on by. I think lowest that we've seen Colin Forster in this race. In P6, he's held on to a top 5 spot for most of the evening, but it's been all about keeping your tires cool as these cautions come out, and as these long runs just slowly but surely creep into the mix. You saw a bit of bumper-to-bumper contact there. The 98 just trying to ruffle the 45's feathers. So far hasn't been able to do it. Tried it in 3 and 4 the last lap. We'll see what he does this time.
Just using the bottom, just wrapping that berm on the inside, just trying to just make himself an opportunity, just try to get around him, because once he gets that opportunity, I think that 98 is just going to start pulling away. The 45's kind of falling off just a little bit, and I think it's just enough where it's going to reel Hawking back in, and it's just a matter of time at this point.
And we haven't seen this 98 experiment much with the higher lanes at all. We've seen him arc this car like he is now in turns 3 and 4. But where you see AJ Green on the racetrack, we have not seen the 45 nor the 98 really take that step up. They've been always downstairs at the bottom of this 13 degrees of banking. So Hawking has pretty much played the same route over and over and over again, hoping that at one point it would open up some sort of space and momentum to get right to the inside of Luke Knupp. Link's in and out there for a second. But these top 2, no doubt, Kyle, have been the class of the field. Whether they're first or second, and they've been like that all race long, whoever's thrown on back has no chance here as we approach 60 laps to go.
Yeah, but AJ just kind of being the odd man out, just pulling away from, these guys back here. Put a nice little second gap on the Schaefer. Battle for, I believe it's 5th. Keely's going to drive to the bottom, wrap the bottom side, but, Schaefer's just able to hold off on the top side, just making it harder and harder for the guy on the bottom. And, there is a little bit of grip on the top side, just like trying to cut it down. But looks like there's a little bit of a battle for the lead again. I don't know if I was wrong or not, but, Schaefer's able to run the top. But, yep, I was a little bit right. Luke Knupp's able to drive right around him. But there's a little bit of grip up there in the center of 1 and 2, be able to cut it down and get a big run down the back straightaway, and it's just you're kind of searching for grip at this point, whatever the car can take. And that's kind of the new thing with this oval refresh. You can kind of open it up a little bit.
It's just the magic of the oval refresh as it got implemented into the sim. And I'd say I can't wait for Kansas. That multi-group racing that could come out from there. I mean, I know you're definitely a fan of Kansas. You're a winner previously in the 4-wide series at Kansas. So, I mean, maybe that'll be a lot of fun.
Hey, I'm looking forward to it. I'd love to get another win this series, man. It's just so hard. This league has just came leaps and bounds from the last 2 years, last 2 seasons at least. And, the quality of drivers and just the way everybody's been progressing and just being able to drive with everybody and knowing everybody, it definitely helps. I've been driving with some of these guys for close to 3 years, and being able to, be a part of it is definitely something that I'd love to be, and, hope it gets better from here on out, man.
And let's talk about that too, Kyle, because, you've been around for a while. Tyler. Most of the guys at Murray Reedy Motorsports, they are veterans in this series. They were here since the OG day 1 of the 4-wide racing TJ's Team Series, and you guys have firsthand seen this league evolve. And while I've been around for a couple of seasons, I've seen this league evolve too. I have never seen it past season, let's say 2 or so. I don't have the season 1 experience. I was never around at that time. And as you, Kyle, as a driver, have seen all the races go by and the competitiveness certainly grow, what have you noticed about all the new drivers that have come in, all the different teams that have formed, and just the way that this community has grown from just a handful of friends now to a really competitive league of rookies, veterans, seasoned drivers, you name it?
It's definitely something, man. It's definitely something that you're proud of to see. We started off, I think it was like season 3, we had maybe 15, 20 drivers that were, consistent. And now we're to season 6, and we're pulling out 35-plus car fields every week almost. And it's just, I'm kind of taking it back to it. I was never used to it, and it's just, now it's, it's kind of, the same thing, and I'm enjoying it. I'm loving every second of it. Love racing with some people that I love to race with. speaking of racing, we got some racing here. Healy on the bottom trying to make something work on the top side with Schaefer, and look who's behind him. Lawson Peel is a few laps down. Unfortunately, I got into him, but, that's kind of my fault. But, hey, he's got them fresh tires, just making Scott's life just a little bit harder, making him work for it a little more, and, maybe Schaefer would give the 12 the spot, and Schaefer maybe will get out of the way.
In a way, Lawson Peel just helped his DBR teammate there hold on to the spot to get around the 64.
Yeah, there you go.
They get right to the inside. Peel on fresh tires. Schaefer not going to fight him, but here comes the 64 diving in it. And there was a big slide about a lap and a half ago by this 64 car. He almost slid up into the 3 and almost made that possibly another caution here on lap 101, but he was able to keep it collected. And that's really what I'm noticing, Kyle. Here at this North Wilkesboro Speedway, it's not necessarily the exit that's spotting drivers all the time. It's the entry. You wheel hop, and this car is going to get way out of shape. You'll find yourself sliding up the banking real quick.
Yeah, it just kind of sneaks up on you, at least on the exit. At least that's what happened to me. It just kind of jumped, went around on me, and, at that point, you're kind of holding on, hoping to hit anybody, but I kind of hit everybody, so. It's definitely difficult. The rear end's kind of hiked up, so it makes the rear end a little more slidey, but I think it makes the racing just a little bit more better. Just makes you think about it a little more. And he's got a battle here with Pre's going to get by Pandicio. Craig Parks behind him looking. Nice little three-way battle here. Pre's been holding on. Forrester's been kind of fell back a little bit. Curtis Kelly in that 71, he's rocking and rolling on that top side.
He's been running the middle, so he gets around the 99, and we saw the 63 of Pandicio do the same, and while he did lose that spot to Jesse Prees in the 00, he's somehow making it work. They've got some grip up there as the bottom line has sort of fizzled out here at lap 104, so we'll see how much more this track changes over the course of the race. But yeah, that 71 is way higher than you would expect him to be, and still is rather fast as the 98 kicks it way sideways. Boy, that was all over the place. Aaron's Dream Machine starting to fall off a bit. Those tires are not liking Colin Forrester right now. Still loose in 1 and 2, and here's Jesse Prees for 7th.
It's just, he's holding on for dear life. That thing's driving on a cloud. That thing is all over the place, up in the air, sliding around, selling some t-shirts, but not in a good way. Just making sure, trying to hold on for here. He's just holding on, just making sure he can just finish all the laps.
And how about all these drivers that came in from the All-Star Open? Curtis Kelly in the 71. You look at Jesse Prees in the 00, who finished 2nd in that race. Craig Parks, who advanced. Brian Pandicio, who advanced. Christopher Bishop, Kevin D'Elia. They've all advanced, and they have somewhat performed rather well through all the attrition and everything that's gone on tonight in this All-Star race. You have to give them a lot of credit.
Oh, yeah, no, it definitely helps when you have more than 50 laps on the old field. I mean, at this point, they've ran almost 160 laps on this track tonight. It's definitely going to be a big factor coming in, just having that experience going in, just being able to just jump into the car and say, hey, this is what I got to do, and this is what I have for the get-go.
So here's a look on board with your race leader and dominator so far. Luke Knupp in the 45 will get around the lap car of Brandon Banks, and we'll make that approximately 12 cars on the lead lap. So we mentioned Kevin D'Elia. He's riding in 12, so he's up the road right there. And that black and orange number 53, pretty sideways in 3 and 4. And looking up, will probably have no problem getting around this 53. But if you're the 98, this is a possible opportunity. You've got some lap traffic around, and much like Eric Schaefer and Scott Healy's battle was decided a bit by lap traffic, this one for the lead in the waning 40 laps of the race could also be decided by cars in the way too.
Oh, yeah, no doubt in my mind. I think Hawkins just sitting there licking his chops, seeing the lap cars up there is going to hinder the 45's exit a little bit. Kind of hinder the 98's exit, too. Kind of D'Elia's going to split both of them on the top side. Going to get by him, just going to be able to get the run off the bottom. Maybe not. That low exit's been really helping Hawkins, but the rear tires are just starting to scream at him.
And the last time by, it looks like for the race leader, 20.377, Hawkins at a 20.423. And this time by way closer, 20.349 for Hawkins, 20.338 for Knupp. Now, the slower lap times, of course, is because Kyle, he's in the middle of dirty air, right? He's following directly behind this 45 car. He's not putting himself in clean air where he can rotate that car just a little better than the race leader can, except he's following in the footsteps. In this lap, definitely closer, 307 for Knupp, 304 here for Hawkins. So we're just going to keep eyeing in on this battle, and at this point where we're at the longest green flag run of this all-star race, Hawkins is going to have to get physical. I don't know if there's really any other approach that's rather clean. He's going to have to do the old bump and run if he wants to win this one.
He might have to, he's kind of just being like keeping that headlight out there, just getting a little bit of just like that sniff of clean air, just being able to turn down the center of the corner. But we got a little battle here. Chris Bishop, my teammate, come get you some on the bottom side of Forrester. Gonna try to clear him on the bottom. He might get him here.
Hey, how
he
about
does.
that?
He cleared him.
What a pass, Christopher Bishop up to 10.
Hey, Leo, go get you some, buddy. He's been just kind of been pretty quiet, running about top 10. Kind of running down Pandisha right now. That's a pretty clean Cowtails 42 Ford Mustang, if I don't say so myself.
I really don't want to make a pun here, but I'm just going to say that he's leading the stable for Meridian Motorsports right
honestly,
now.
Man, he kind of is, man. Got the flag on, holding it. Man, his back got hurt from carrying this team half the time, man. He got a little bit of smoke on the front straightaway. But yeah, the 42 of Christopher Bishop just been kind of cleaning laps, just putting laps together, and that's just kind of his forte. He just puts laps together and finish races, and there's nothing wrong with that.
And you know what? In a way, that method does work in races like these where attrition comes into the fold. You've got drivers who are ultimately killing their tires over the run, and they really are struggling behind the wheel of the race car. Colin Forrester, good example of that. And for Christopher Bishop, you stay consistent, you run your race, you keep all four wheels on the racetrack without any damage, chances are you're going to walk away with a pretty good finishing position. And here in this all-star race, Bishop has done exactly that. As here's the fight for 7th place. Craig Parks, nice slot into the inside of Curtis Kelly.
Yeah, Parks has been kind of putting it on too. He's just kind of running the bottom lane, just keeping his car nice and clean. Get a little run off the corner, nice good tires, and he's pretty good right now. He's running pretty solid lap times. His car's pretty clean. He might be able to run down his teammate in the 0. Who knows what the 17 can do, man. He might get himself a pretty good finish here.
Yeah, he's going to join his teammates here, Preece and Schaefer up the road. So if the 17 can keep this going, he would be the rookie driver to just stomp right into his DVR camp. Take control of that group. The driver out of Lansing, Michigan, trying to move forward. And after what's been somewhat of a tumultuous season for Craig Parks, tonight really could be the turnaround. Help that momentum heading into Darlington.
There was one sideways in the back. I think it was the 4 Trevor Haley. But as you stay green, he's gone on pit road. But yeah, definitely just getting some good momentum for the 17. Just put some laps together, just knowing that you're fast enough to where you can run up front and run the top 5, top 10, top 15 around that. It's definitely a big momentum booster, for having a troubled season. Just knowing in the back of your head that you can definitely run with these guys is definitely something big to have going out of the break. And
also too, look at the variety of tracks that we had that could have easily affected the drivers on all fronts over the last weeks before the All-Star break. You had Daytona, and you had Bristol in that group, Michigan, the big 2-mile oval in Michigan. Then you had the old Atlanta surface. That's always a tough track to drive, no matter what car you put on it. And then our first road course race of the season at Watkins Glen. So you've had a lot of different things to not only think about, but then get used to every single week up until now, where even then you're putting practice laps and you're like, man, this is a new feeling. This is a new sensation. We're not really getting into a pattern here. So for every driver, let alone Christopher Bishop, each week has proven to be a brand new thing to check off. And North Wilkesboro tonight is no different, but for Bishop, gotta credit the performance he's put on tonight. There's lap car Jaden Porter, heavily damaged on the outside. Will let both of the leaders through. I think that car is kind of crab walking a bit, isn't it? I think it is.
Crab wrong, just the hair. The 28, the rear end kind of cocked out just the hair. Kind of hurt Hawkin there on the exit of the corner. But yeah, that thing is definitely not pointing straight down the front straightaway. But he's just holding on, just putting laps together, and a bad night for him. Good thing it's an all-star race. It's all for fun. But man, I think he's having a little too much fun, just having that thing cocked out just a little bit. It's a big battle here. It looks like about 5 cars here for position.
I don't know if Jaden Porter had a Hummer EV and just turned on crab mode or what, but 28 car just dog tracking here at North Wilkesboro as we've got great battles on through the field. The 71 getting to the inside of Eric Schaefer, so splitting up 2 of those DBR Chevrolets. Schaefer did fall back to Craig Parks, so it looks like give 2 more spots here or so to the 17. Now going to catch up to his teammate in Jesse Priesen, putting in pretty good lap times in comparison to the 00. So it looks like Schaefer, points leader, starting to be on the fall off now.
Yeah, just kind of, I want to know if he probably just roads his tires a little too much than he needs to. Lap cars ain't really helping. The Leah's kind of holding him just a little bit. His rear tires are starting to go away. You're pretty late in this run. You got another about 20 laps left. And, just kind of holding on at this point. Just get whenever you can and kind of just holding on to the end. Hope for no caution. But I know me and being a new broadcaster, probably gonna be a nice little jinx. Probably about 5 to go. Thing's gonna be a crapshoot, and then next thing you know, we have a completely different race than we had about 15 laps ago. So let's hope that doesn't happen. But, you know, at this point, we're just kind of logging laps, just getting whatever we can. You know, any position is a good position, and just kind of trying to make yourself go forward.
Hey, I mean, I don't know. You're the full-time driver. You're not the full-time commentator. I mean, you said the same thing in the All-Star Open, and we didn't get a single caution after. So maybe it's just a reverse psychology. Maybe it's just if you're a full-time commentator, as soon as you say something. If I say right now we haven't had a caution in blank amount of laps, yellow's going to fly, someone's going to wreck.
Man, honestly, when you said that, I was kind of waiting to see the yellow up on the ticker, and I was like, that's crazy. But, you know, maybe it's a nice little reverse psychology action. You know, we'll call it that. We'll call it a nice little reverse psychology, and, you know, let's hope this thing goes green, nothing happens, and we get to go to bed at a decent time.
Welcome to the psychology course here on the KBueno Racing Network. Never thought we'd talk about that. But, I mean, commentators' jinxes are never fun. I remember having a lot of those here in this series. But tonight we've gone through our longest green flag run of the All-Star race, breaking into 20 laps to go. You're looking at 5th place. Jesse Freeze holding on to his spot, still around 2 seconds off of the next car up the road. That orange number 64 of Scott Healy will have to get through his teammate Lawson Peel first before he can try and chase for that 4th place car. It seems like this is really, Kyle, the most amount of separation we've seen through the field. I mean, the caution certainly helped bring the field back together every time we had a semi-decent long green flag run, but on our longest run of the night, it's definitely showing the attrition and, of course, the skill gap between drivers. In a track like North Wilkesboro, field is thinning out quickly.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely hard doing, you know, just running laps and just having a long run is hard to manage, but having a track that hates you and you have it over 60 laps on a tire set, on a tire run, is definitely something that takes, it kind of weeds out and makes the best come out. You know, you got Nupp and you got Hawkins. They've done this before. You know, they've ran, you know, this is probably their bread and butter, just making a long run work. You know, and, you know, some of the guys start to slack, and it makes a big difference. You know, a 10th here is like 5/10 at a short track. Well, not a short track, at a big track. So just getting anything you can out of this is definitely something big.
And for these two, boy, the reward will be monumental if either of these guys can get to victory lane. And the really funny thing, I mean, I mentioned it earlier, Kyle, but I'm going to tell it to you here at this moment. These two, I think over the last 3 weeks, they have not been able to escape each other. Atlanta Motor Speedway was Brandon Hawkins' first race, and boy, he dominated that for a long while until Luke Knupp just came back, swung to the fences, and hit a home run, got his 2nd race win of the season. Then the week after at Watkins Glen, these two found each other, 1-2 again, but this time swapped. The 98 able to hold on for the win, Knupp finishing in 2nd. And how about tonight at North Wilkesboro? And although Hawkins has fallen back to the largest gap we've seen between these two at half a second, them running 1-2, just consistency's sake for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's definitely something, you know, running up front and running together is just kind of, it's like, man, what can you beat this week? Or what can you get this week? What can you do better? What's worse? What's good? What's this, and that? You know, just trying to find everything you can, you know, just anything you can get. This new over refresh kind of threw a wrench in everybody, but I think Nupp is one of the guys that's been able to pounce on it quick and be able to kind of just start licking on it pretty good.
Looking on board with the 45, leading 138 laps tonight, has been outright the driver outclassing the field. And although Hawkins has tried many a time to get around this 45, it never happened. So Knupp has led every single lap here from North Wilkesboro Speedway. We enter 11 laps to go, and the field continues to separate from each other. This gap between Freeze and Healy is shrinking quite a bit, within 0.8 of a second. That is one of the other closest battles in the field. I think our other one might be here. Ryan Pandiccio in 9th, Christopher Bishop right behind him in 10th.
Yeah, Chris is going to try to get him here. I mean, you know, going to try to get him. He might be able to get to him. He got really good 1 and 2. Might be able to hold on the back straightaway. Pandiccio on the top. Bishop kind of run that middle of the bottom lane, kind of cutting it down the center, getting that grip off the bottom. He's really working it pretty well, man. I'm kind of surprised at this 42 machine. He might be able to get the Pandiccio here.
Pandiccio, the driver out of Massachusetts, trying to defend against the 42, sends it into 1 and 2. He's got the nose underneath. The Cowtails Ford Mustang has a look. I think we'll back out here in 3 and 4. Pandiccio goes to the top. Now this will be a huge obstacle in the waning laps, Kyle, for the leaders, because there they are at the back end of the screen. The 45 of Luke Knupp is catching up, and while he's passed lap traffic a bunch tonight, a lot of them have been just single car lap traffic scenarios. He has never been around 1 or 2 cars, let alone battling for position. They don't want to go a lap down. They're fighting for their own real estate, so it's going to be really tough here for Knupp.
Oh, definitely. It's hard to balance, you know, being on a lap car, just fighting for position, trying to be lap, but also you got the leader bearing down on the back of your neck, so you're trying to make sure you get out of his way, but also trying to run your own race. It's just definitely hard to balance. Trying to be, excuse me, trying to be as nice as you can being a lap car, but also trying to look out for yourself.
And for Brandon Hawken, this might be the opportunity he needs after falling off in the last couple of laps. They do settle things out, though, a bit. They are catching as well. Eric Schaefer in the 3 car, who has dropped off significantly, down to 8th place. And so the Busch Chevrolet Camaro will have to possibly be under fire from Pandiccio and Bishop, and then have your leaders just right behind them, hot on their heels. So the 45 catching up to the 42, and have the run here. He has broken away from Brandon Hawken to the tune of almost 1 second on board with the 45, entering 4 laps to go.
Yeah, Luke's thinking, please just don't do anything stupid in front of me. Just make sure, be predictable, be all nice and clean, nothing crazy happens to you, and you just get by him quick. Because, you know, Hawken back there is kind of licking his chops here, seeing the 45 boxed in here. He might be able to try something here too. Bishop just gives him the lane up the top side. 45 drives it in deep, going to clear maybe both of them, but definitely at least the 42 going to clear Pandiccio maybe off the corner, maybe exit 1 and 2. But you know, the 45 just kind of went on pretty cleanly. Pretty clean for the 45. Nice and drive safe. He might be able to get to the 3 of Schaefer, but he might get to the 28 of the Crab Machine, old Jaden Porter there. Things crabbing around there. Mr. Krabs in the 28. I'm pulling all types of Krabs jokes here, man. I'm pulling everything out of the brain.
Man, wow, that was like what, 3 in a row, 4 in a row?
Yeah, I'm crazy. I don't know, man. This is definitely something. But 2 to go. Luke Knupp all by himself in the 45. Hawken back there, about 3 lap cars back from him. Just 45, just kind of in his own land here, coming to the white flag.
And it was the best case scenario, rolling through the lap traffic. Luke Knupp gets to the white flag here in the All-Star race. And what a race it's been for the 45, despite lots of pressure behind from Brandon Hawken in the 98. And through all the cautions we had early in this race, Luke Knupp was never phased. And for the first ever 4-wide racing event, All-Star race here in North Wilkesboro, it will go to Luke Knupp, winner here in North Carolina.
Luke Knupp, you are an all-star. How about that? 45 led almost, I think he led every lap, just kind of dominated the race. Kind of the new thing, what he's doing, so you might want to keep an eye on him for the rest of the year. This is definitely a big win for the 45. You know, being able to dominate at first time in an All-Star race. I think it ran pretty cleanly for first time being in an All-Star race for 4-wide. So definitely a big win for the 45 machine.
And just absolutely stomped on the field, and nobody had anything for him as he'll come out of turn 4. There's AJ Green, who finishes the race in 3rd. Big time damage to Ryan Pandiccio. Not sure if anything happened to him, but he does close off the top 10. And it is the 45's race to celebrate. All-Star winner, Luke Knupp, the driver out of Peoria, Arizona, leading every single lap en route to the win. And just got to give all the props in the world to the 45, who will burn it down for the 3rd time this season. Not an official win, but an all-star win is still nice.
Yeah, no doubt in my mind. A win's a win at this point, man. It's so hard to get these ones, and you know, you got to enjoy every win like it's going to be your last one. And probably will expect the same thing of the 45 of Luke Knupp. You know, just dominated the race. It's pretty much was his race to lose from that last caution, and you know, held on from Hawken, and you know, there he is in victory lane doing burnouts.
We saw a lot of mistakes on tap here tonight from North Wilkesboro. Really tough track to drive, really tough car to drive over a long run. But one driver that didn't make any mistakes at all was this man right here, Luke Knupp, who walks away with the All-Star race win. And we'll get the chance to celebrate. There's the Alan Kowicki Polish victory lap, going backwards in turns 1 and 2. And go uphill instead of downhill like you usually do into the corner. He continues his celebrations here from North Wilkesboro. Let's take a look at the full unofficial results of the 150-lap All-Star race here from the storied short track in North Carolina. It is Luke Knupp, the winner, leading lap 1 to lap 150, not phased at all, and winning by 1.45 seconds over the next best car in the race, Brandon Hawken in the 98. These two continue to be against each other. We might just build up a rivalry between those two as the season rolls forward. AJ Green closes out the top 3. Really consistent night for him. And how about Jesse Prees? Advanced from the All-Star Open earlier tonight and just put on a show in the All-Star race, finishing 4th. Scott Healy closes out the top 5. Then Craig Parks, the rookie, in P6. Then the 71, Curtis Kelly, in 7th. 8th place to Eric Schaefer. Christopher Bishop, how about a great 9th place finish for car number 42? Won in through the fan vote from the All-Star Open. And Ryan Pandiccio rounding out the top 10.
Definitely. Colin Forrester kind of fell off a little bit, finishing 11th by 1 lap down. Trevor Haley, the winner of the Open, finishes 12th. D'Elia in 13th. Lawson Peel in the 14th. My bad, buddy. I didn't mean to get into you. Jaden Porter, Mr. Krabs himself, in 15th. Brandon Banks in 16th. Myself in 17th, unfortunately. Alice Shire in 18th. Craig Lautenschlager in 19th. Lance Hill in 20th. And then we rounded out with my old buddy, the team owner, Tyler Murray. Tough to see it. And then Brady Cox finishing 22nd.
So that's the 22-car field for the All-Star race here in North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. Let's get a chance to talk with your All-Star race winner, the 45 of Luke Knupp. We'll bring him in from Victory Lane, and there it is, the Undertaker dong. We cannot go without it. Luke, what an unbelievable race you put on tonight, leading every single lap en route to the All-Star win. I mean, there's nothing that went wrong, right? I mean, just the perfect race put on by you tonight.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you saw my message in the Discord, but I was like, sorry in advance for how bad I am. Because I didn't do any laps in practice. I was mainly just screwing around. And then we put her on the outside front row and got a great start, and the rest is history. But Brandon definitely did not make it easy. He was all over me for the first probably 130 laps, and then I think I just saved enough tire there at the end.
And you really put on a show, and for the way you were able to hold off Brandon Hawken, it just feels like you two continue to meet each other week by week after Atlanta Motor Speedway, then Watkins Glen last week, and now North Wilkesboro tonight. What did it take to try and hold them off over the run, and how good did it feel to put that separation between you and him in the waning laps of the race?
I mean, I've been just focusing on, hitting my marks and not really focusing in the mirror, just kind of driving out from what I can see. Because I tend to make more mistakes looking at my rearview mirror, and kind of just let the race come to me. I didn't know how tires were going to play out. I didn't expect the last 80 or so laps to go green, so that's pretty cool. Only used one set of tires. But no, I just kind of hit my marks every time. Brandon got to the inside of me a few times, and I knew if I just kept him to my inside, he wasn't going to pass me down there. So it's kind of hard to pass, but just glad to hold him off. We've gone 1-2-1 last 3 weeks, so definitely a dogfight.
Certainly feels good to get this win, I can imagine, and you roll into the Christmas break with a lot of momentum on your shoulders, and next up, Darlington, Kansas. I know IRP's next. The regular season will continue, and you're going to still try to fight for a 4-wide championship at season's end. So how does this race help, or does it really help going into the Christmas break and just adding into your confidence levels going back to Darlington on January 10th?
It definitely adds a lot of confidence, and just gives me that peace of mind knowing I was the last person to win on track. I think it's a 2 or 3 week break for the holidays, so I'm definitely gonna enjoy that. But definitely gives a nice peace of mind going into that break, knowing the momentum we've had since I've come back. Haven't finished worse than second, and 2 wins. I know this didn't count for points. I wish it did, because I kind of beat everyone I needed to beat. But we'll carry on and go hit the banks of Darlington.
Yeah, you're right. Last 2 races have been first and second, and now first here in the All-Star race from North Wilkesboro. Luke, on behalf of all of us at the KBueno Racing Network, congratulations on the All-Star win. Before we let you go, anybody in specific you want to thank?
Yeah, for sure. I just want to thank you guys, KBueno Racing Network, you and Fran, and then you, Kyle, I guess, for commentating tonight. Remember, car high. And then Luke Knupp Racing, Moreno Designs, he made this awesome scheme a few weeks back, and decided to bring her out tonight. So we might put her back in the shed, just a one and done. And then BBR Jaden had another spectacularly unfortunate night. But excited for the holidays and wish you guys a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
We certainly appreciate it, Luke, and I don't know if Kyle has any words for that at this point, but
I really don't.
All right, well, nonetheless, Luke, big congratulations on the win here from North Wilkesboro in the All-Star race. It was a lot of fun watching you dominate out on track. Best of luck as we move forward to Darlington, but until then, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's to you and your family. Hopefully you spend it well and safe. We'll see you back in Darlington in a couple of weeks. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's looking up, driver of the number 45, who finishes this race on top. We'll try and talk to the next driver in line. That is the 98 of Brandon Hawken. And Kyle, ever since he jumped into this league, boy, he has not slowed down. Why don't you mind jumping in for this interview on second place?
Yeah, definitely. Brandon, it's Kyle and Bueno in the booth. You got me, brother?
Oh, we got you.
All right, man. You feel like the last 3 weeks you've driven behind the 45 car all your races long, Kind of get like a mindset of like what is that coming in, knowing that that's the guy that beat every week.
Oh yeah, just showed up here a couple of weeks ago, and Luke, he's been the guy to beat, it looks like, and man, he just knows me out there in qualifying, and then in the race, it was like I tried my best. I did all I could to try and pass him, except for maybe laying the bumper to him, but. Man, yeah, it was really tough. He held a great pace the entire race and didn't slip up once, I don't think. So, it was just tough. Like get like a little bit of a run, but and then the outside get the run off the corner, and it was just really tough to try and pass. But towards the end there, I think I pretty much used up all I had, and he started pulling away. He did a really good job at saving the rears. That's what I was hoping for. I was hoping I could just apply the pressure and have him maybe slip up a little bit later in the run once the tires wore out. But man, yeah, he did a really great job holding on, and I had so it's 2 for 1 so far. So yeah, we'll see if we can even the odds coming up into Darlington. But man, yeah, that was a lot of fun. I wasn't sure how the race was going to go there at the start, but everybody did a really good job keeping it clean for the last like 3/4 of the race or something like that. And we had a really fun run to the end there. So you know what, I'm happy with that. I'll see if we can come back and get them next week. But I'm satisfied with that. That was a really fun race.
Yeah, we've had 3 different tracks. We've had Daytona. I don't know if Daytona. We have a lot of different tracks coming up since you started. Darlington coming in, man. Like, what's your thoughts on Darlington? Are you ready for it? Are you happy for it? You're like a little iffy on it. Like, what's your thoughts? What's your expectations going into Darlington?
Yeah, should be like an interesting race for sure. It's always been a bit of an iffy track for me. I have some runs that go well and then others that don't. But it's gonna be a lot of attrition for sure. Got to keep it out of the wall and keep it out of other cars, especially coming out of turn 2. And it's gotta be a tough race. Should be a little bit more multi-groove than this one, I'd imagine. And we'll see how it goes. There's gonna be probably a variety of lines to run, and we'll see which lines are dominant throughout the race. And it's just going to be about staying out of the wall and other cars, I think. And once you get shuffled back, it's hard to make your way back up. So we'll try and get a good qualifying run, and just try to keep it clean.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be different. I think it's going to be pretty different from this one. 1 lane racing to now maybe get some multi-group racing. But Brandon, I know you ran a pretty good race, man. I know you got some thank yous got to give out here on the old KBueno Racing Network.
Oh yeah, just like to thank you guys at KBRN and 4 Wide for putting this show on. It's been a lot of fun racing the last few weeks, and just a lot of fun racing with everybody. Putting on some really good shows so far. So it's been a lot of fun, and we're looking forward next week to Darlington. I didn't even know I was supposed to be here tonight, and then I looked at the list. I was like, oh, okay, I'm eligible. So I'm just happy to be here in the All-Star race, and had a lot of fun. So I'd like to thank everybody involved, and we'll see y'all next week.
Yeah, appreciate the kind words, brother. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
That's Brandon Hawken coming home in second place in the All-Star race. We'll talk to the third place finisher. It is the 48 of AJ Green, and we'll bring him in from third place here from North Carolina. And AJ, there was no beef tonight, I'm sure. You had a really clean race, but I'm sure that's exactly what you asked for going into tonight after all of the chaos, and you survived it all. What did it look like from your end over this 150 lapper?
Well, first, I'm glad there was no beef. There was beef behind me, and that was quite fun to see. But my car handled actually quite well. I did like B opens like many builds ago in iRacing at North Wilkesboro, and I've like always like loved B cars at short tracks. And I mean, my car handled well. I saved tires. I wasn't too tight, too loose, and just overall just a good car.
And it ran really well. I know you and Colin Forrester were basically near each other the entire race. You guys sort of separated near the end, but what was that like to go right into that long green flag run? Did you expect that to happen, given all the cautions that happened earlier?
Part of me was actually expecting it, yeah. I knew we would get strung out, which we did, and that helped. Of course, there was like a few moments where there might be a caution, and I was kind of hoping for a caution at the end just to make things interesting, and I might have had a shot at the win, because it was really hard to pass with old tires.
Well, nonetheless, a great finish here, third place in the All-Star race, and you hustled it out, and now you get to take the little break before heading over to Darlington Raceway as we return to regular season action. Any early thoughts about that, and maybe how the break will help you guys reset and come back with a full head of steam?
Well, the break will definitely help with relieving some beef in 4 wide. I'm excited, especially with me and a couple people. It should take care of some stuff. I do like Darlington though. I've liked it in every car I've drove. I ran up front in every car I've drove there, so I expect to be top 5, and if I'm not, then oh well, something happened.
All right, still, well, phenomenal finish here from North Wilkesboro on a third place effort. Before we let you go, AJ, anybody you want to thank for the special run?
Yeah, shout out to you guys in the broadcast booth. Shout out to Colin, Lance, and Skybox, all of them. And yeah, Merry Christmas. That's coming up soon.
That might have been the most casual Merry Christmas I've ever heard in my life. But hey, AJ, we certainly wish you a safe and happy holiday season. Happy New Year in 2024. Excited to see you and the rest of the 4-wide field take on Darlington in the new year. Congratulations on third tonight.
Thank you.
All right, that's AJ Green in the 48. Well, Kyle, that was certainly casual at AJ Green. That's how he usually is, although he does start some beef sometimes. But the beat machine ends up in third here from North Wilkesboro. We wrap things up here on the KBueno Racing Network. And Kyle, I know you joined us a little later on in the show. You were racing yourself in the All-Star main event. How fun was that? I mean, long run, discipline, skill took over. We had tire saving. We did not have a lot of strategy just because everybody was on the same set of tires, but pretty good racing overall. Probably could call the first ever All-Star race at North Wilkesboro a success here in 4-wide.
Definitely. I had a lot of fun. I was having a lot of fun until I wrecked myself, but it was definitely a lot of fun watching the racing, watching how everything played out and watching, different lines, different drivers and how they would take a part of this place. And that's kind of why we wanted to do this. We wanted to put North Wilkesboro on the schedule, but we knew just to get a little feel out to make it the All-Star race and see what we can do. Got a lot of crazy races next week. Well, not next week. Next year now. Going out of winter break, go to Darlington and Kansas. And then the old Indianapolis doubleheader. We go to IRP and the Oval. And then Texas, Iowa, Daga. And then the off week for the regular season. I'm excited for these stretches of races, man. Kind of looking at the IRP and the Oval doubleheader. Definitely something different, something new. But definitely can't wait to get there.
That's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, first ever race at IRP. I know it's going to be chaotic, number one, but it could be crazily fun depending on how the racing goes. I mean, certainly looking at, Iowa, for sure. One of the better multi-group tracks even before they added this new oval refresh, and that track is always a blast to drive in the sim, specifically with these cars. So how that will play into the last races of the regular season, who's going to be in, who's going to be out, there's so many things we still have yet to figure out. I mean, that points fight on the top 14 really close. I know you've had a first-hand perspective of that. Do you know how close? Do you reckon how close it's probably going to get by the time we get there?
It's going to be close, man. You're going to be kind of definitely making sure you get some good races here. IRP is definitely one to circle at. Just trying to at least finish that race. At least finish IRP in a decent position. We definitely have a good run going down for the rest of the races. Dega being the last race for the playoffs is definitely, nothing new. Usually have plate tracks for the cutoff and make it a little more spicy going into it. So keeping everybody on their toes, but definitely just trying to make sure you keep putting races together and get good finishes where you deserve. So that's going to be a big thing coming in the next few weeks. And we're getting the second half of the season, man. I'm excited for it. I'm ready to get these stretches races going. And man, I'm still trying to get one of these chips one of these times, man. I don't know. I'm gonna try one of these times, but at this point, man, we're just gonna try to make sure we make it.
We'll see what happens. There's a lot to figure out, but we'll step into the new year to find out all the answers and continue season 6 of the 4-Wide Racing TJ's Team Series. But for us tonight, that'll do it for the All-Star race. A large congratulations to Luke Knupp on winning the All-Star event here at storied North Wilkesboro, North Carolina. For Tyler Murray and everyone from the admin team and race council, for Charlie Byer, Keelan Belsha, and Francisco Bacallao at the KBueno Racing Network, and for our crew on the broadcast tonight, for my colleague in the booth tonight, driver analyst Kyle Benson, I'm Kenneth Bueno saying so long from North Wilkesboro. We'll see you in 2024 at Darlington to continue the regular season. Until then, happy holidays and have a happy new year on behalf of all of us at KBRN.